Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand finale of the Illuvium Leviathan tournament. Yesterday we had the semifinals, which were already really exciting. Today we're gonna have another best of 5 in the grand finals, and we're gonna see who's gonna take home the crown and be the champion and take home the big prize pool. I got Silent right here with me, Explosive Silent they call it. How is it going, man?
Doing quite well. I'll try to keep the explosions for a little bit later on in the stream, but for today anyway, I'm just very, very excited. These players have been working this entire month, of course, training, or even beforehand, getting their Illuvials all trained up and ready for this tournament, for their shot at the prizes here that we're going to be giving out here today. And we have our top 8, our best of the best, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they compete here today.
Yes, sir. I don't know who was tuning in yesterday, but it was an amazing show. You can always rewatch that if you feel like it. We are live on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And we're about to jump into the first game of the best of 5 here in the grand finals very shortly. I think players are loading in. We're just going to have a quick look at the top 8, and then we're going to be ready to see what's going on. Who is your money on today, Silent? You have...
I need to see the list in front of me just to... I remember how everything went, but I just need to kind of visualize it a little bit personally, so I'm going to hang on for just a second. Because I'd argue a lot of the people that were my picks actually got knocked out yesterday. So, I mean, based off of how the performances have been in the past little bit, I think it'd be almost stupid to not go for Slicks. But there are still plenty of other players here ready to take over.
Oh my god, I had a little...
I have been sent to the Shadow Realm, but I shall return. There we go. But of course, good morning to everybody in chat as well. Got the early birds in here. Good to see as hope you're getting ready for this awesome grand finals here, just like we are.
Yes, sir. So I have this here already. We have the top 8 players.
There we go.
Doesn't look as fancy as usual, but it's kind of a little bit sorted. Squawk here in first, dominant performance yesterday. I think he's a little bit of an underdog in my head, at least. Not really a big IPL contender from what I remember. Like always in there, but not like as dominant as we saw him yesterday. So I think I'm going to be betting on Squawk just by mathematical reasons because he was so strong yesterday. And then we have Slick, Patat, I'm a Fishy, Sota, Dr. Spoon, Not Complain, and Fox Spirit in there as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, because with Squawk, like especially early in the Illuvium Pro League season, we saw them quite a bit in like making semifinals, making grand finals. But then the mid to late season kind of just been quiet. But with how they played yesterday in the Leviathan tournament, I still agree that I feel like they're an underdog with how they played. They look like the dominant force. So it's such a weird spot to be in here. And of course, still, just to kind of go through the list here, of course, we got Slicks, and then we have a bunch of hype with this one as well. So Squawk, we have Slicks hype, Potate hype, I'm a Fishy from hype, Soda hype, Dr. Spoon hype, Not Complain hype, and then the Lone Atlas here, of course, one of our veterans in Fox Spirit. But who I would end up actually picking in this instance, I like me some chaos. I love to see an underdog, but who I truly think is probably the actual like major underdog in this instance here is probably Dr. Spoon, because like they too, like similarly to Squawk, like we see them in the occasional like IPL semifinal or something along those lines. But this is, I feel like, their first opportunity to have a shot at prizing in general based off the competition. So that is just going to be very, very interesting. I'm rooting for them. I want to see them take this, but it's definitely going to be a tall task.
Yes, sir. I think we're loading into the game right now. We're going to see if one of us can be the prophet today. We have a better shot at doing so since Caveman is not joining us today. It cut out a little bit for me. Who is your call? Fox.
I want to see Dr. Spoon. I want to see Spoon take it.
All right, so we're both betting a little bit on the underdog, and underdog, I don't want to talk down their skills, but just from past performances speaking. Anything can happen today, and that's, we're on Squawk and Dr. Spoon. What are you thinking, chat? Who is your money on if you would be betting? Let us know in the chat, spam us, hit that like, subscribe button, share it to your friends and family. And we're gonna jump into the first game right here. We are a little bit late, but never too late to party. We are in Halcyon Sea right here. So we gain 1 stackable free shop reroll each round. I love this region. People can just keep re-rolling for free all the time. You can either save them up for the late game once you have your desired level, like level 8 for example, where you have a good chance at tier 5 if you're looking for those. Or if you need a strong early composition, like with Mud or with Invokers, you can also spend them early on.
I know this probably comes to the absolute surprise of nobody, but I save it up for round 6 right after the Dokas, and I start looking for Lynxes because it's just so free. I'm not going to get punished for doing so, so I'm just going to take it for free. But
yeah,
is this probably the best way to do it? Absolutely. It's probably not the best way to do it in the slightest. I'd much rather actually, on hindsight, be maybe saving it for some of those late game super carriers or super tanks or something along those lines. But of course, we kind of jumped in this a little bit hot, and we got the weapon breakdown.
Yes, sir. We got Ripple Flail for Amafishy here, sitting at the top at a nice win streak. We got the Sprout Guard for Patat, the Ember Buckler for Slicks, Strike Boomerang for Squawk. Like to see that. Vinebound Cleaver here for Sota, another Strike Boomerang coming out for Fox Spirit, Sylphid Blade for Dr. Spoon, and then another Vinebound Cleaver coming out for Not Complain. So we have 2 rogue players, we have 2 boomerangs and an Ember Buckler, 3 fire weapons. We have 1 earth weapon, which we don't see a lot from Patat. Curious to see what he's gonna go for with that. Maybe a reroll later on. And then we have 2 water weapons here with the Flail and the Sylphid Blade. Sylphid Blade, usually it looks like it's gonna be a mud composition here.
Definitely looks that way here, and Dr. Spoon also robbing any Scion players of that Tianti, so I'm going to slow that down a little bit. But I am, you kind of pointed it out, but I'm very, very curious as well as to where Patat is going to actually take this here. We never see this weapon really picked up at all. Not that it's necessarily bad, but like, what do you go with in this instance here? Like, you could bind yourself and have like Invoker Granites if you end up getting Tianti, which I think they did end up picking up. But it's trading the usual damage that we would see from, say, an Aqua Blaster or from an Emberling Rod, but more so to just add like another tank to the squad when you normally already have 5 Borgs to begin with. So I'm very, very curious. Does this end up being a reroll like you had mentioned, or do they have something cooking?
Yeah, it could go maybe into something like Magma Arcanite, which could also work because it is a Scion Earth weapon, so maybe we see something along these lines. I don't think it's gonna be anything like with Earth or Mud, because he already has, like, it seems like he's just going full water. Maybe there's a reroll coming in. He has an Archellion already. That's a huge find.
That's huge.
Yeah, taking it away from, for example, Amafishy in the top that's trying to get it. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, so the remnants have a little bit of a bunker style composition, and sure, Magma could absolutely be fantastic. We are gonna actually see the Ranger get attuned to the Tianti, so that's now Granite on their side. But the fight we have at hand is between 2 hype members, which granted, at the same time, I'll probably be saying that a lot here today with how many hype members we have here in this grand final. We've got Amafishy and Slicks at battle.
Yes, sir, that's it. Yeah, we are gonna close the little oversight here in a second. Gonna bring up the stats as well, the economy, which is gonna come next patch. We're gonna get the economy. Everybody in the lobby will see what the other players are dealing with, how many credits they have. Yeah, that's gonna give you so much input, and I love it. Other auto battlers have that as well, so it's gonna be so good to see, okay, my opponent here, he goes for the same composition, but he only has 20 credits. I have 70. I can roll now, secure some units before he rolls the last of his gold or whatever it is. It makes for more strategic depth for the high-end players, but it also, I think, helps you onboarding because you have more information as a new player.
Yeah, 100%. I know I would definitely love to have been able to have the opportunity when first learning to see kind of like how to study the players around me. And I'm thankfully, since we got the credits overlay that you had picked up here for the stream for a couple of times, I realized like, wow, I'm actually so reckless with my credits compared to some of these other players. No wonder they're so dang good, and I've been able to kind of learn off of that. So having that directly in the game for everybody is going to be huge. And taking a look at some of the people, what they're cheering for in the chat, we've got a lot of hype for Fox Spirit, Slick, Sota, Fishy. Everyone's going for multiple different people here as this battle ensues.
Yes, sir. Everybody has their own friends, their own favorites. Love to see it. Let's quickly go over compositions now, since we have definitely locked in some stuff. So we have Slicks and Squawk in the top, sitting at fire. They both found Furioxes. Squawk even found 2 Furioxes and already a Singe. So very close to a somewhat late game build here with maybe a Scoriox Magma, etc. We have Patat looking to go actually for Invoker, it seems like. He's just gonna go Invoker Granite, I think. With the Arcalion, with the TNT. He's gonna roll down very soon, probably here at round number 13. If that is where we are right now. We have I'm a Fishy going for Toxic, like Fighter Toxic. Berserker maybe a little bit. We'll see what I'm a Fishy turns out playing. Sota here on the Rogues. Dr. Spoon still has to roll for his Mud. Fox Spirit here, the bottom fire player, is gonna have a hard time, but found an Artes, found a Rampfight, found the Raylu, so that looks not too bad. And then Noko playing the bottom Rogue player, having even harder time here as Rogue. Even if you're a little bit contested, it gets really hard.
Yeah, I was just about to make the comment. We were talking about it in the Pro League, I think it was just last weekend, where Rogues can still absolutely shine in this current patch, but usually if there's any sort of contesting, that's kind of where problems start to show up, and we're definitely seeing it here for Not Complain, having a little bit of a harder time. Let's see if they can hang on here in this battle. We do see them, of course, in the green, going up against I'm a Fishy. Not too bad. The Rampy is going to be doing a decent amount of damage. Could look Charm from Rollura as well, but this is to the point where your Penguin is not necessarily to super carry status, and unfortunately, they're just going to be out-sustained, blocked out by those bulwarks, and just shot down by the Fur Knight.
Yes, that is the case. Fur Knight's really strong. If you get a nice line of stun in there. And we have Templar online as well. I don't know how much I can really value Templar at this point. I think the units itself, they're really strong. But the little bit of resistance, I don't know if it's really... if it is a huge factor in the game.
I know, at least personally, I treat it almost the same thing as Wildfire, where it's like, it's fantastic if you pick it up, but am I focusing on, am I ever going to build a team around this? Probably not. So, yeah, a nice little buff is nice, but again, not going to hard focus it.
Yes, sir. As we have the next game coming up, break it down for us.
Absolutely. Trying to see if Not Complain can kind of break this lose streak. We do have Rampfight now in the fray, and that might have just been the difference maker, getting a little extra firepower to get the job done. It's perfect shots there from the Rampfight, and the Penguin is able to clean up as well. Not Complain, the lost streak for them is going to end up stopping. Squawk going to take the hit in this instance, but now it's Fox down at the bottom having a bit of a hard time.
Yes, sir. And now in a second, we'll also be able to see the stats right here and maybe make a little bit more out of why certain players are in certain positions and if it is as dire as it sometimes seems. Because Fox Spirit, okay, is in the bottom, 30 HP, 2 lives left, maybe 3. But if he has a lot of money to roll, that wouldn't be so bad. But as we see right here, he is down to 30 credits. That's pretty bad overall. I don't know if there is something that he's looking for. The Furiox is so hard contested by the top players. That's a big unit missing for him. That's why he also opted into more the fighters, the Foros, the Chokul, to have a little bit of a different build here. Let's see if it works out for him.
I mean, there could be a potential saving grace because I think in the race to get a Monarch, Fox Spirit's in the lead. But it's still going to be very, very tough to do. So yes, we got that infusion of credits thanks to the NPC round. We're probably hovering around, say, 40 credits or so. And right now, even more actually, 54 currently in the pocket of Fox Spirit. Just a matter of when you go for it. But we're seeing on the right-hand side, you see that overlay popping off. Well, that's exactly because everybody is finding the Illuvials they're looking for. I saw Rip Lances, I saw Maluras, I think Patats found the Sephoris as well, so the Invoker could be online. Lots of moves being made here on round 18. Don't know if it's just a matter of who you are going up against and you want to make sure you take them out, or is this just everybody's comfortable time to start rolling down. But especially here for Fox Spirit, they were not necessarily the beneficiary of any of those evolutions and are going up against a nasty Malera.
Yes, sir. Let's see how it goes. That is going to be a very tough fight. Sota has found most of the units that he was looking for, or at least one big unit. The Malora is going to carry a lot here, doing a lot of damage here already. But of course, as always, the show is revolving around Stabin. Stabin is the star for most rogue compositions, pretty much all rogue compositions, at least here in Leviathan. Sometimes the Umber can come in and steal the show. I feel like that's the two units outside of what you've seen with the Invokers that are really the win conditions that we have seen yesterday in the best of 5 mostly.
And I'm very surprised because normally when I see rogues, they don't have both the like the rake or the stab, and they usually go for one or the other. But pairing them up together, it's kind of expensive. But I mean, if you pull it off, you're in such a fantastic position. And Soda even going as far as finding TB Ruko, who normally doesn't get much time to shine here. Normally only people who go for shock really try to pick that up, but it must have just come naturally because I can't imagine that they were rolling for it. But that does, of course, allow for a rather powerful Revenant. And if something goes their way, maybe Revenant can be added onto the board here for them.
Yep, that is definitely a good find. I mean, if the game offers it to you, might as well take it. As we're watching Fox Spirit versus Patat here. Patat has found his units. As we have seen yesterday, this team here is nothing to joke with. It accelerates in the mid and late game with the Arcalion, the C4s, already the Goliath active. The Ramfight tries his best here, finally takes down the C4s, the Arcalion, but the C4s and the Sinalf still alive. And here in the front line, still 3 big tanks alive. That's gonna be it for Fox Spirit, taking exactly 15 damage down to 0. Very fast game here for him in the first round of the best of 5. Nothing is over yet. I hope he can recover his spirits, but that is a rough start.
Well, chat's going to need a spirit bomb there for Fox going on game 2 forward, because of course, yes, it's only game 1 of a best of 5, but I know that has to hurt at least a little bit. But Not Complain could be short to follow. Only 9 HP trying to make this classic Burden to Rogue composition go here. They do basically have the pieces they're looking for. They have even Slashin as well. But can they actually get
who are they fighting against?
Completed? I think it might be a ghost, actually.
Okay. All right. So it's bugging for me. We're watching Squawk versus Dr. Spoon, some that we haven't seen fight yet today on the stream, and it is Mud versus the double Fury Oxes. Basically, it seems like Dr. Spoon has found the 4 Mud units, which might spell doom here for Squawk, but the fires just burn and turn the monkeys away, and that's gonna be a big win here for Squawk. And yes, No Complain got knocked out against the Ghost, even though he had the slash, and that is heartbreaking.
Oh, it's just unfortunate. You have, it was like the reverse. This time they had the carry that they were looking for, but just nobody else was truly, I guess, up to snuff yet. Or maybe augments not go into their favor, but they will end up falling here. The 7 Rogue, 2 Predator, 2 Vanguard. Looked like on paper it should be strong, but again, you're contested pretty heavily there with, I believe it was Patat that had the Rogues? No, not Patat that has the Rogues. Soda that has the Rogues. Of course, it's Soda that has the Rogues. Who am I kidding? It's always Soda that has the Rogues.
And but, I believe
yeah, Doctors.
I believe he got knocked out against the Ghost from Sota, which is you would say, oh well, he deserved it. If he loses to a Ghost, he really had to get out of there. But the problem is against Rogues, it doesn't really help that you play against a Ghost where you usually get a positioning advantage. Rogues don't care so much where you position them, whereas if you fight against this team right here, you can position your Rogues onto the Sinalf and C4s freely at the Ghost, and then you have maybe a free win. But Rogue versus Rogue, that doesn't matter too much, and Sota just had the stronger team as we watch Patat versus Squawk here.
Very interesting coming out here from Patat. They've completely broken up the bunker and just had a full-on line of scrimmage across the middle and the rear of the team, just not going to allow for any splash damage to come out there from those Ferrioxes, and it absolutely dominates this fight because of it.
Beautifully done. Very well positioned here by Patat. By the way, fun fact, Patat only was able to compete yesterday in semifinals because somebody didn't show up. He was the backup. And he managed to get it today in the finals, and it's looking really good for him today. So definitely also coming in as somewhat of an underdog if you look at the performance from from the days before, from the qualifier tournaments. And yeah, like you said, the positioning was genius because it stops the Furiox splash damage if you when in doubt, spread out, they say. But also the Fernite targets the furthest enemy, and also the Quinks charms the furthest enemies. So all these CC, all this crowd control not hitting the Sinnoh, being able to cast and the C4s, that's really good.
Yeah, and with Tap making it in, at the end of the day, you just have to put yourself into the right position for success. Sometimes it may not be obvious. Sometimes things won't necessarily go your way. You can get yourself into the perfect position and get bit, but sometimes you can get yourself into a less than optimal and still have it pay off, and Patat is making the most of it with this opportunity, whether it was the semifinal success and now being here in the grand finals, which currently second in the lobby. I mean, they're doing quite a good job for themselves, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, they have learned from what we've seen over the last 2 days in the IPL 1000 grand finals and also in the semifinals yesterday. Invoker 5 Bulwark is where you want to be at if you can make it, because usually it's not contested. He even went with a subpar weapon to make it happen, because maybe he saw that nobody's going for it. Yeah, usually it's one person going for it, and that person usually has a really good time if they don't choke in another way. I'm just watching Squawk right here. We're gonna go down to Dr. Spoon, but Squawk only misses one more Fury for so long. I wonder if he can ever find the Scoriox. As we go down, we find the Riplands here on the side of Dr. Spoon. Is that gonna help him versus the enemy Riplands?
Okay, very rarely do I ever see two Riplands in the same place here. And we are going to see him go back-to-back, essentially, in this fight. Good stun coming out here from the Goliath to at least shut that Gorilla down for just a moment's time. It will escape. Right now, both Riplands is completely safe, but the problem here against Dr. Spoon, it's actually got the rest of these mud units. They are going to start sapping this thing, and there it goes. As soon as the monkey, or as soon as the gorilla start getting onto it, it just loses all of its damage, and then it just allows for the monkey and for that Riplands coming out here from Dr. Spoon to go absolutely nuts. I'm officially going to take a huge hit here, knocking them down to 35, but still 1 or 2 more shots left in the tank.
Yeah, we see here the damage. 16,000, 14,000 coming on for the left side, and then 10,000 and 4,000. So a huge difference where we see here around like 40,000, and on the other side only 20. So almost half the damage done here by Amafishi, and Dr. Spoon is looking really good as we go into our deathmatch. Squawk versus Dr. Spoon, the bottoms fighting it out.
I mean, if I'm Dr. Spoon, I'm focusing on my positioning in this instance, because in theory, the Hyper should help me here, right? Whether it be my mud units or even Riplands, this is all going to be a hyperactive squad. Just don't throw a critical unit away. We see a lot of movement coming out here from Squawk. They're actually going to do a bit of a semi-bunker now that Scoriox just got evolved in the very, very far back corner. If they can get to that Scoriox, is curtains, and we know that Gorilla is good at finding squishies.
Yes, let's see how it goes. I'm gonna go right here to the damage chart because I want to see how this Scoriox performed instantly. Cover Dulux in the middle, the main tank down. The Riplands charged into the backline, which actually is really good. Gorilla casts one more time. Scoriox not dead yet, but everything else has fallen. Another 12,000 damage by the Exalted Monkey. I want to look at those augments and everything around it because it is just overperforming.
Yeah, you got the one on the very, very far left there. That, I believe, is just the biggest pure damage spike you can give essentially any alluvial that's not a legendary augment. 40% attack damage, and then the damage amp on top of that. You've got the safety, or what I keep calling the emergency button with the phase breaker as well. You get jumped on, A-OK, go untargetable for a little bit. And then percentage health damage with a little bit of additional attack damage and attack speed. This is exactly what a monker could want.
Yeah, and the only thing I could see that is missing is attack speed, so I'm wondering, we have 10% here flat, so it's 15% through the augments, but then we also have lightning speed, another 8%, so gets a little bit of attack speed, and also its ability, by the way, it's not an active ability, it's one of the only units that doesn't have one. It has a passive ability, and each secondary attack deals extra damage in a cone, so splash damage behind the target. And that is just huge if you have so much damage. 600 to start out with. And then the mud units oftentimes give you even more. Because if you have 4 mud, once the mud unit dies, it gives its stats to a close by unit. As we get into the fight here, Dr. Spoon versus Patat.
Yeah, kill shot no matter what happening to either of these players, and with that additional splash damage from the monk here, they need to find some value, but that is a dual F in the background, loaded up with augments. The Gorilla's gonna try and take it down. One more shot, but a big shield actually from the one augment on the far right there from that dual F is going to keep it alive. Normally you put that on an attack damage carry, but they're going to use it to keep that dual F alive. But the Rip Lance, it is there. Where is this shot from the dual F's gonna go? It's gonna go right into the Appa, and that leaves the fighters completely untouched. And that is going to be a massive shot. Even with 14k damage, Patat's dual F is not going to be able to carry this one. They will fall in 5th.
And that is heartbreaking for Patat. Definitely something to analyze what went wrong there, because he found the dual F, he found all the core units. I guess what's missing, what we have seen yesterday missing as well in Invoker comp, that managed, when the Invokers don't perform, it seems like Blotto is missing, is what I'm trying to say. We see Blotto here from Amafishi, and this is just such a strong tank in Leviathan with the blind, giving you a flat damage reduction against auto attacks no matter what happens. As we jump into it, we're gonna see Dr. Spoon and Amafishi battle it out. Dr. Spoon obviously with the mud still, with that monk here trying to do a quick job on this Blotto. Blotto is gonna fall, which opens up the Squisher units to those crazy berserkers trying to hack and slay into it, but the Riplants actually kills the other Riplants. And that's gonna be it for Dr. Spoon and the Muds. Gonna be taken down by Amafishi's toxic fighters, everything a little bit. Let's see the... Yeah, it's just Aegis, I guess. Aegis, Granite, Toxic, not even berserkers. Finally takes them down. Is that gonna be enough damage? Just to 0. Dr. Spoon out in 4th.
And we have potentially 2 more within kill shot here. We got a, first off, all hype type top 3 here. Congrats on that Hyperion Guild to start things off. But Slicks is probably within kill shot. Soda's probably within kill shot. So I'm officially the only one who can safely take a hit, and I believe they absolutely capitalized as soon as Patats went down and Squawk went down. It was actually Slicks. They capitalized and was able to scoop up Scoriox as soon as they got put back onto the pool. So they've gotten their carry that they're looking for, but it's still not a guarantee.
And they also all scooped up at least a Rake, which I guess is just, it's a good unit on itself, but it's also just a countermeasure for someone like Soto to not get a slash in and an Umber, which could be very deadly. Let's see how Soto... Oh, somebody... Wait. Who did it just see there? Somebody is 1 dash away from the Umber. And that is Slicks as well. Getting an Umber and a Scoriox. That feels unfair. So that's everybody else is also contesting the dashes. Oh no, Soto just sold theirs. Maybe put it on the bench, but not in the team anymore. As you said earlier, it's usually not very common for a Rake and a Slash-in to be on the board.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to just have it benched for the time being, but at least it's not in the hands of their opponents in this instance. Because, yeah, going into an Umber that actually has augments could be an absolute huge difference maker.
Yes, sir. As we get into the next match here, the Rake is going to jump into the back. Maybe the Ranger is going to tank it. That will be a saving grace here for the side of Slicks.
Here comes the Rake directly onto the Scoriox, but it is coming on out. So just going to completely open fire. The stun actually coming out is going to make it extremely difficult. The Rake on the other side is slowly starting to tick away at some of these tank line members, but the green squad, I don't think their tank line is just strong enough. The Ranger is still rather healthy, but the other ones are pretty low. The Rake on the side of Amafishi did end up taking care of the Scoriox. Can the Archos actually help sustain away these other tanks? It's an absolute wet noodle fight in the middle, but right now, Red has actually, or Amafishi, has lost a couple of their tankier members. Archos, we need a heal very, very quickly. It is going to end up coming on through, but it's not going to be enough, and Amafishi is going to end up getting hit.
Look at the damage numbers over here. Goliath 17,000, Blotto 15,000. Outperforming the Scoriox that was able to hang on a long time versus the Rake that it was focusing it. But yeah, we need... Is there any other damage dealer? The Riplands so far below.
That's incredible to see. Just the amount of like thorns, the amount of reflective damage coming on through is just so critical there up against Time of Fishy. And now everybody is within kill shot. This very well could be our final round.
Yes, it might very well be. We see Fishy versus Soto here on the live match. Slick has the saving grace fighting versus the Ghost, which is usually gonna be somewhat easier. Definitely is gonna be easier. We see that triple Vanguards here jumping in on the left side. Let's see if that's gonna make a big impact.
Definitely could be huge. A nice little semi-bunker kind of coming on through in the last possible moments from I'm a Fishy, just to try and manipulate the Penguin and the Malura's positioning, but they don't necessarily have like an Emberling Rod to try and capitalize on them pumping up like this. In fact, the Ranger can only really start getting into the fight right here, right now. Rampite to the Skies does some pretty decent damage. Gyro gets a decent blind on the Fur Knight, so it's going to slow it down at least a little bit, but as this is all going down, that Rip Lance has basically been untouched. It is now on top of the Penguin, but the Charm actually coming out from the Malura. Big support coming out. It lived with like 10% HP, and that allowed for the Penguin to just open fire freely on whatever it pleases. And because of that, that is going to be game, and that's actually going to be Sota taking game number 1 here in our grand finals.
Sota with the Penguin, with the Slash and the Gyro and the Malura and the TB Ruku. Everything was stage 3 here for the Rogues of Sota. Uncontested. Rogues are usually very dangerous, and Sota shows everyone that he still got what it takes. Congratulations.
And like at least in the early game though, like they did have to be a little bit careful. Not complained that had a couple of rogues for their own, but I do like the fact that while this was happening, Sota was just building different rogues. It wasn't necessarily the popular ones. How often do we see Gyro? How often do we see TB Ruko? Basically never. And we're actually seeing them both on this squad here. Got the Gazatep as well, so just totally loaded up with crowd control with that Malura. And Malura is just the super MVP of the squad there. That Charm in the very bottom left-hand corner, while it had about 5 to 10% HP, got the Rip Lance off the Penguin, and the Penguin was just able to open fire and just go full Death Pengu.
Yes, sir. That's what happened, and congratulations. Sota first, Slick second, Fishy third. Definitely our veterans, I would say. Then we have Dr. Spoon in fourth, Patat in fifth, Squawk in sixth, Not Complain in seventh, and Fox Spirit, I think, underperforming a little bit to his own expectations and the crowd's expectations, and we're gonna see if he can come back here, finishing last in first game.
100%. The 7th or an 8th so early on in the tournament definitely hurts, but again, because this is a best of 5, it is not the end of the line as of yet. It just means you gotta basically play this tournament on hard mode as if it wasn't already hard mode, but it's doable.
Yes, it is definitely doable, and he has been known to do harder things in the past in other tournaments. Let's have quickly a little bit of an overview. We jumped today directly in the games, and now we're gonna run down the rules, the structure, and all of that here in the break between game number 1 and game number 2. Just 1 second, and we're gonna get it started. All right, so we are in the Leviathan Series tournament here, hosted by Ola.gg. They have been doing an incredible job hosting these tournaments. You can see all the schedule here, but basically we are at the end of the line. Main event, day 2, grand finals here for $7,000. It is split like this. First place gets $2,500, which is a really nice paycheck. Just on top of the IPL, right? This is it runs simultaneously to the IPL. I've really enjoyed competing in here, and yeah, it has been a really cool tournament series. The format explained here. We had 3 qualifier tournaments, out of which we got our top 16 players by points. We had a best of 5 to find our top 8, and another best of 5 today, where we find our grand champion. And we are only 1 game in. There are 4 more games to come. Here are our players, and also on the right side, the ones that barely made it. So shout out to everyone who competed, and shout out to the rest that we don't see today, but definitely performed well.
Absolutely. Just making, of course, it this far to begin with. So shout out to yourself there, Basil. Illumination. We see you up there. Not just the streamer, not just the host, just absolutely crushing it on the battlefield as well. So congrats there.
Yep. I'm almost glad I didn't make it in because I would have had to succeed anyway. So I'm like, all right, I'm right where I'm at, where I'm supposed to be, on the edge of pro play, but commentating, which I enjoy a lot here doing this with you. And we've had a lot of good feedback also from the community. So thank you guys for tuning in, for watching, and for letting us know if what you like. Also for letting us know what you don't like. We always try to improve our broadcasts, and I think it has been showing. And this is now counting the IPL as well. We have like 15 shows in a row every single weekend, like 3-4 months back to back to back. And yeah, I'm really proud of us, of the whole team, and what we have accomplished so far. And we only have a little bit longer to go. We have the final call event next week, the last chance to get into the World Finals for the Illuvium Pro League. And then we have the World Championship in 2 weeks and 3 weeks time. And they're going to be huge. $150,000 on the line, 64 players. We're going to see them, I think, all the way. Like, it's going to be a 4-day tournament. It's going to be 4 days of streaming. So you're going to see everything at home, see the best players battle it out. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to be a part of. I'm very, very thankful to be a part of it, and very, very thankful that the community as a whole has just been so receptive and so positive, and can't thank you enough. But in regards to this tournament format itself, for anybody who might be used to watching us in the Illuvium Pro League and sees a Leviathan tournament, has no idea what this is, what makes this difference compared to IPL?
So in Illuvium, we have Illuvials, and those Illuvials you can capture, pretty much similar to the idea of Pokemon, but way cooler because you can go out into an open world which has beautiful graphics, and you can capture those Illuvials. Those Illuvials then have randomly assigned stats to it, and they have levels. The stats you can change, so you gotta get lucky to find a Illuvial with good stats, or you pick it up from the marketplace, and then the levels you can train them. You can take them into battles, and they get levels and get stronger. The more levels, top level is level 60, and the more stats you have, the stronger your Illuvial, and that's what our contestants are fighting with. Their own Illuvials, their own collection, and their own monsters that they have caught and trained and all of that.
Absolutely, and just being able to compete in the arena with the stuff that you've either caught yourself or you went out and found yourself on the marketplace. And I think I kind of touched on a little bit yesterday, but racing it up to the max level, of course, regardless of any sort of creature capture you've played, it's always very, very difficult. But especially in Illuvium, to get to max level, that is a very, very tough task, and it's not uncommon to see teams just work together to raise these Illuvials. And like, it's kind of almost like a bit of a family aspect. It's kind of weird to say, but it feels almost family when you're helping raise that Illuvial. You see it competing on the field, and you basically have a horse in the race, even if that Illuvial is not necessarily your own. And it's a different aspect that I've just not found in esports ever. I mean, of course, there's other games out there where I can just take a character from another game mode, throw a skin on it, and call it a game. But there's just something that's just so special about what we have here in Illuvium, as we have game number 2, and oh god, we're going for some chaos. It's at Abyssal Basin.
Oh my. Yeah, I definitely agree. It is something special, and I'm really glad that Illuvium is leaning more and more into its biggest strength. That is your collection, your Illuvials, capturing them all, some would say, and becoming an Illuvium master. And yeah, this is the finals of this Leviathan series, but there is more to come, guys. We don't have details yet when and what, but it's gonna be bigger, better, and yeah, there's a lot more Leviathan to come in the future for Illuvium and for you, the players, in different aspects, and I can't wait for that.
And of course, that's just the arena side of things, because that's what we're looking at now. But of course, picking up those Illuvials, being able to bring them to the MMO, for example, or eventually, I think I saw it on the roadmap, where even Illuvium 0 will have like training gyms, so you can help level up your Illuvials that way. I tell you what, once that's a thing, all of my lots are being turned. I'm opening a daycare, basically. If that happens, I will absolutely just turn my plots into just the
All right.
absolute dojos.
I'll send my full collection of 205 Illuvials in your daycare. I'm really happy to.
Hey, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm completely fine and open with this. Let's go.
I don't want to see those buggers all day. They can come back when they're level 60 and I'll accept them with open hands.
Well, there we go.
Okay, let's look at the weapons. It looks a little bit different as last time, as we have here Patat with the Lava Gauntlet. We have the Galewind Bow from Slicks. Usually that's something that will be swapped later on. It is quite strong in the early and mid game. We have an Elderwood Staff here, Empath Nature from Fox Spirit. Don't see that a lot either. Strike Boomerang, the arguably best weapon at the moment from I Am a Fishy. Vinebound Cleaver from Dr. Spoon. Seems to be the only rogue player in this lobby. Flameward Staff, Fire Empath. We saw that yesterday, very successful with the 4 Mystic Steam Umber. Giving a win in the last game to Fox Spirit. Securing him today the entry into the grand finals. So we'll see how that goes. For Sota, we got the Ambling Rod. Squawk seems to be uncontested on that. Let's see how he performs. And then the Water Fire weapon from Not Complain.
The one thing I find really interesting about how this Leviathan tournament's been going so far is it seems like almost a guarantee every lobby at least has one mud player, which at least when we see it in the IPL, that's almost like a, not a Hail Mary strat, but like, it's risky, right?
Yeah.
And we don't really see it every single game. But we've seen it, at least one person try it in every single Leviathan game, I think, so far, in the semifinals and then here in the finals as well.
It feels like you gotta risk it for the biscuit here in Leviathan if you want to get out successful. These players are not playing for like getting 5th place or whatever. Everybody goes in with the intention of winning this tournament, I would assume. So a risky but like high risk, high reward strategy is definitely something those players are looking for. Hence the mud, and also I think the Ambling Rod kind of falls into this category. Like super strong if you pull it off, but you take a lot of damage early, rolling for that Arcalion, for that Sephoros. If you get contested, you're absolutely screwed. Like you have to be the only person on mud and on invokers, it feels like, to get those early stage 3 units. So yeah, let's see if it pays off for them. They're not contested, so it already looks pretty good for them.
Look at the way Squawk is playing this right now. They have the Emberling Rod, so of course they'd be looking for like spellcasters and whatnot. But they've loaded up on mud units. It's going to absolutely hinder Not Complain big time. That's a Greater Gorilla off the table. A Greater Monk Ear's gone. It's just going to make it so much harder. Granted, you're probably not rolling just yet, but depending on how long Squawk hangs on to these, do they even bother selling and just keep it on the bench? That could absolutely just shut down Not Complain.
Yep, that might as well do it. I love the tactic here as we get into a fight. Squawk versus Dr. Spoon. I think Squawk actually wants to lose this because win streaks give you a good amount of gold. But he's gonna not hold on to it. It looks also like Dr. Spoon with 87 might be on a lose streak as well. So whoever loses this, I think, is the actual winner because they can keep on to their lose streak. And in the end, the Baby Lynx seems to be victorious here with 9,000 damage dealt. Here comes the Ambling Rod though. Exploding. Did nothing yet. No Invoker activated. No, how is it, Late Blossom or whatever, the enhancement on the weapon. The amplifier. True. So far, that's also a reason why they perform so weak, right? They have to roll early, but also the Ranger is pretty much useless in the early game.
Yeah, the AoE is nice, but it does definitely just tickle early on. It's more of an inconvenience than an actual problem.
No, we see
Dr. Spoon. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we see Squawk versus Not Complain. So Squawk will, maybe if he didn't scout well, he now sees that Not Complain is... Wait, yeah, Not Complain is taking away his units. He's taking away all his mud units with the Gorilla, with the Monk here, as you pointed out earlier. So he's gonna be mad about that. Wait, I'm turning things around.
Yeah.
Squawk is taking them from Not Complain. Yeah.
I know at least personally too. I've done this so many times where I feel like I'm doing so well. I'm scouting my opponents. Like, oh, I'm completely uncontested. I think I even did it on stream. I think it was last week. I'm going for Toxic Aegis, and it's like, okay, I'm in a perfect situation. I get myself to level 7, start rolling for Riptorus. Nobody has Riptorus. Meanwhile, the player directly in front of me has Riptorus, and I just
staring you into the eye
to it. And in that instance, there was somebody else that actually had it as well, and I blew all of my credits looking for it. It's like, oh, nobody has this. Why isn't it there? It's literally looking at me in the face. Come on, man. Just shape up, shape up. But yeah, that's right. Definitely a wake-up call here for Not Complain, realizing that even though it goes against the composition that Squawk's really cooking, they're taking my units.
Yep, and that's the problem with the mud units. As you said earlier, it's a risky one. And it's also very risky because all those mud units are so splashable, as you like to say. You can put them in basically all early mid compositions. They're gonna do good. You get an easy Berserker of the Monk here. You get an easy Predator with the Chukol and the Gorilla. And then the Arpon is very strong as well, providing this huge stun against rogues and fighters mainly. And also Mystic maybe for some compositions. So all of these monkeys, they are inspired by the co-founders of Illuvium, and they are definitely very strong in so many situations. Yeah,
very, very strong, but I would never, ever label any of them to be, like, over the top. But no, I'm never mad to have one on my team.
No, they're perfect, I think. Like, most of the units, I think, are so well balanced. I think it's more a problem of the hardship of balancing Illuvium at the moment is maybe balancing hyper, balancing the weapons and stuff. But I think the units, or maybe sometimes, you know, an Umber and a Slash in, but 95% of the units are really well balanced.
I was gonna say, talk to me a couple patches ago about the Penguin, and I would just be on an absolute tirade. But right now, I would agree. Everything seems like it's in a pretty decent spot. Yes, it does feel like certain units run away with the game sometimes, but a lot of things have to go their way as a whole with augments, drone augments, region, weapon, in order to really truly make that happen. And if everything goes in your favor like that, you should be rolling a lobby, as we're going to see Squawk, this little makeshift, I don't even know what kind of composition to call this. It's just, like, it's a mixture of rogues, fighters with nature. That's all I could really call it. I cannot actually give this team a true title right now, but it got the win rather convincingly.
Yep. Rogues, fighters, bulwarks, there's an empath in there, but at the moment we're looking at
something now.
Toxic Harbingers, so it found its way into the mid game, which is really strong. The Axon plus the Karadulu, perfect match for the Ranger to activate both its traits, and he's gonna be happy about that as we approach round number 13, which is Famers for rolling down all your money to find what you need. So let's see if that happens.
Who's in the best?
Yep.
I was just trying to see who's in like the best position right here. I see a lot of people, or at least 2 people, 3 people with 80 plus credits going into that NPC round. They have to be rich. We're seeing levels. We're seeing Alluvials thrown all over the place. Crunk coming out here for Squawk. I mean, we're talking about that the Crunk or the Blotto is basically a must if you're going for Invoker. There's Tianti, of course, an absolute staple with the Invoker squad. Arctace for Sota does have Inferno now, big one. Exalted Apon, Exalted Monk here for Not Complain. They're just waiting for the Gorilla, and they cannot find it.
Gorilla's still far away, and here we see Squawk's tactic. I mean, I guess he sold the Gorilla already. Maybe it's on the bench. No, he sold the Gorilla by this point, but it really held back Not Complain, because he's still 4 Gorillas off the Exalted Gorilla, and at this point you wanna find it very soon. But yeah, Squawk locked in his composition. He only needs 1 more Kara Blue for the Cardalux, 2 more Atlas for the Axodon, 3 more TNTs, and a bunch more Archies. So still a long way to go. How is the credits looking for Squawk? 84 credits as of now. I'm not sure if that still updates, but yeah, he's gonna keep rolling round by round. Just slow rolling, I guess.
Yeah, I think that was before the roll, but now this battle here for Squawk, this is actually kind of close, going up against Fox Spirit, who is also going for what looks like a different style of Scion-based kind of composition with that Elderwood staff. And it is still going to end up going over to Squawk in this instance, but Elderwood staff, what are we cooking?
I'm not sure. It could be some Wildfire approach with like a Blaze Knight carry, Empaths, Bulwarks just out-sustain, and Wildfire does the damage. It could be something if he finds the Sea Forests, he probably just smashes 2 Invokers in as his carries with Sinelf and Sea Forest. But he doesn't have many TNTs ready yet. So here it looks like maybe just Bulwarks, Empaths, and then a Furiox carry. We'll see.
Could you do Verdant Aegis? Possibly?
Wait.
Because you already have the Twine as well.
Oh yeah, Verdant Aegis for sure.
And just like pump up a Blasonite or something maybe?
Yeah, right now it's Wildfire
well
Templar. Really is looking for the Crunk to activate Wildfire as well. Templar is pretty good. 3 Templar, that's going to give you a lot of resistances. But the damage is still quite lacking here. And we see that going up versus Not Complain with the big monkeys. 12,000 damage on the Monkeer. That's going to be enough to take down Fox Spirit.
Yeah, the Exalted Monkeer, you just can't stop this thing. Heck, even the Ranger and the Chikoro get involved in this one. But definitely a little bit painful there. But this is what I love about Fox Spirit. Not afraid to try out new things even in the midst of a tournament or stuff that maybe be a little bit less popular. Whether they wanted to get themselves into this situation or not, I don't know. But they are a majority of the players that I see. Most often, if something's creative coming onto the arena, it is from Fox Spirit.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely a very flexible player, which has huge merit in Illuvium. It's very important in auto battle to be a flexible player, especially at the high-end level of the game. You can grind your way up to Challenger, just playing hard forcing the broken composition, but once you play in a World Championship, you can't hard force over and over. You need to be able to play many different things and adapt your playstyle.
One player that we've not really touched on a whole heck of a lot, yet they're leading this lobby. It is going to be Slicks, and what on earth are they cooking here? We have a bunch of fighters. They kept the bow. It's Berserker. I guess you got Berserker because you have the Gorilla as well. That's a Riptorus. You've even got a little foe in there. It's
Berserker Dust.
Berserker Dust with 6 air. Damn, okay.
That's good. 6 air, definitely a huge power spike. It's gonna be tough here versus Squawk, who found almost all of his units. He found the Caradulux and the Axodon, so strong front line. Also the Crunk here on the outside, looking towards the Bloto as well. And there is the Sea Forest in the back. Invokers, there comes the damage. Sinalf, Ranger gets insta-popped. That's gonna be it here. Squawk definitely way ahead of tempo-wise, ahead of Slicks. And yeah, Slicks didn't even find the Quinks, which would be such a big boost if you had the Quinks here, and it's not really contested.
Oh, the 3 dust.
Oh, Sota going for full air as well with the staff. Okay.
Oh, this is so interesting. Air over the last 2 days seems to have been getting a little bit of a resurgence. We're kind of seeing it either focus or even just kind of splashed in. You just kind of highlighted Patat, who has a mixture sort of air and fire, and unironically, do they have shock?
Yeah, with the Rangers they do have shock, unironically. Yeah,
my goodness.
It feels like once one player plays air, they are contested. Either it's nobody or a lot of them playing air, and we have 3 people kind of going for it, as we see Slicks versus Fox Spirit here, and this time Slicks is gonna get again a huge loss here against Fox Spirit. I don't know if Slicks is holding back his money, but he's definitely behind him. Board strength. 17 credits.
Yeah, right now I was gonna say, as of right now, it does not look like they were necessarily saving. Thankfully, NPC around here, up against these rogues, you're gonna get a nice little influx of credits coming on through. But that checks that strikes one off of my bingo card here. I was really hoping that somebody would play Shock today, because it was, of course, it's still one of my favorite play styles, but I get it if you're intentionally going for it right now, that I'm just coping. Like, I'm coping so hard, because I get it. If you're getting the Shock units, you might as well be going Fire at this point, and you'd probably have so much more success. But just the way that this kind of lined up here for Patat, it's a little bit of a mixture of a fighter composition, but you have found the Octius so early, or I'll still call this early, and early on in this mid game. And maybe it could just be that extra little spice you need to maybe mess with some invokers later.
It's very surprising. I mean, I'm a Fishy is celebrating his position so hard right now. Because there were 3 fire weapon, but as it seems right now, he's pretty much uncontested. Except for the one odd fire unit in every composition a little bit, but nobody going full fire. But definitely the core units are still taken. We have Furiox here, Singe, Artes, Ramfight, another Singe. So yeah, we're gonna see how that goes. Let's watch Patat. Let's watch the Shocks try to beat Fox Spirit here, who has a really good corner composition already with, it seems, 8 units.
All right, I'm going to get my dopamine hit right here, right now, once I see that Shock hit that Furiox in the background and do absolutely nothing. But it is what it is. It's still a relatively even fight here to start things off. The Enchanter, you see that pink flash coming on through. That is every time that Kuka loose ends up casting, healing and doing damage. But this front line just seems too strong right now. This Octius needs to take care of this front line. Good old Shunts coming out here from the Mammoth is going to be able to finally take care of that Singe. The Polar Bear is going to end up getting focused, and at this point, it is going to be too little too late. Just the amount of shields and heals coming out here from Fox Spirit's team is going to be able to make that Shock and make the lightning completely negligible, and they will open fire here onto Patat.
That Twine tanked 12,000 damage from Fox Spirit with the double Verdant. Pretty nasty as we are preparing ourselves for another bloodfest here. Patat versus Dr. Spoon. Really important fight for either one of them to win this.
And of course, for any newcomers, because they're asking in chat where to find tutorials for the game. I believe a lot of community members have on YouTube is probably your best place to kind of get started. I can't remember. Paz, do you have one?
I do have a few community members that do guides on mines. You could see one in the bottom right corner of your screen right now. And also in the bottom left corner of your screen. Now we without trying to self-promote too much, we have been doing a lot of content and guides obviously on our channels, but so have many other community members. A good place to find those guides is in Discord, in the Illuvium Discord. There's a channel called Community Content. So usually if somebody makes a guide, they are very keen to try to get eyes on it, and they will post it in there. So what I usually do every few days, I check out the community guide channel and check out the new videos. And for me, that has been the most successful strategy to find those community content pieces.
Look at this guy, so humble. I set him up to plug himself and doesn't even necessarily take the baits. Well, nicely done there. Here, a little bit, but it could have been way more upfront. But no, yeah, just the community is fantastic, and that community tab is absolutely a good place. 100%.
Yeah. And yeah, there have been also a reason why I'm always down for a little self-promotion, but also a reason why I am not so keen to do is because with the IPL and with the IMC and all of that, I haven't really put in the time recently into guides, so I'm sure your stuff is way more up to date. And personally, I'm waiting a little bit for the next stage for I don't know. Once the IPL is over, I'm probably gonna dive back into it. But yeah, there's so many great community members who do content. One of the oldest and most consistent, if you know Illuvium YouTube videos, you know Scorix, for example, which has been, I think, the longest and most consistent content creator in the space as well. And so many else. Slicks himself is streaming as well. I think watching the pro players play is a great place to learn once you have like a little bit of knowledge. And yeah, so I'm sure you'll find a lot of good content about Illuvium, informational.
While that was all happening, though, I think we all did kind of see this coming. Unfortunately, there we did lose Patat. Unfortunately, the Shock is not going to be able to outperform this time by. Unfortunate, but at least they had, I believe, it was a pretty decent game number 1. So
yeah,
the 8th is
fifth
definitely
place.
going to hurt. Yeah, the 8th is going to hurt, but We can still absolutely see Patat make the comeback in a little bit. One person also having a bit of a hard time, though. Currently, Dr. Spoon, we do see that ramp fight. It's loaded up on Omega Power. It just needs to find a way to weasel its way into this bunker. And that's with the slashing as well. Maybe the slashing could help break a hole. Here comes the Omega from that ramp fight. It does do some pretty serious damage. Those are not fully evolved tanks in this instance here. It was just a little heady up front. They found their way in, but the ramp fight, he's stuck. And this Omega is literally just going to be an absolute airball. It does absolutely nothing. But the slashing, it is still here. One more try, but it is going to get shot down from the skies. But there is the slashing. Thankfully, what should have probably been a much quicker win there up against Fox Spirit, Dr. Spoon is still going to be able to take this one, even though the ramp fight was kind of trolling us a little bit.
Yeah, the ramp fight just sitting there like a duck, and then not only that, but not even stepping forward before it casted. That was rough. That could be
you know that feeling. Or sorry, go
ahead. No, you go ahead.
You know that feeling when you're at work and you're at you're at work, you're on the computer, you're trying to do a task or something, but you just kind of pause and you're just completely zoned out of it for a second, but then you see your boss walk by and you realize, oh crap, I gotta be doing my job here. That was that ramp fight. It was just kind of sitting there in the middle of the battlefield. Then we realized, wait, I'm supposed to be doing a job. I got an Omega. And then it just did nothing.
Yeah, it was contemplating life for a bit, having a daydream, phased out, snapped back to reality and screwed it all up.
When's my next coffee break or whatever? Oh no, I need the mic right now.
But what I was gonna say is that I could see a good fix for Ramfire or quality of life improvement, that it cannot cast this Omega until it is in auto attack range, and not just once the mana is full I cast it, because that doesn't really help anyone, right? That makes it just a little bit more having a little bit more RNG. Yeah.
The amount of times early game I've watched my Groko just ult nothing because it charged up as a unit died, like that would be very, very useful just across the board.
Yeah, just AoE abilities cannot go off if there is nobody in proximity to actually be hit by it. Of course, they can run out during cast time, that's alright, but just starting to cast while nobody's in it feels like a little bit of a design flaw, which just sometimes leads to frustrating moments and does nothing else besides that. But yeah, that's the little polish that comes week by week by all these patches that are rolling in. We have a big patch around the corner, which is gonna be so huge. I cannot wait to play it. As we watch I'm a Fishy here versus the ghosts of Dr. Spoon, and I'm a Fishy is gonna survive here. Is Dr. Spoon gonna hold on in his own fight?
Nope,
no, he is not, and that's gonna be 21 damage to the face, down to 0. Same as Patat, exactly the damage needed. We'll see you in the next one.
Of course, just that extra icing on the cake there for Sota. They found that Vermiliere that round. And Dr. Spoon, I'm kicking myself. It's like, come on, you had to give me the lobby leader right now? Come on. Which is definitely unfortunate. One more round, and heck, somebody else could have been ahead of them. Because who was our lobby leader? Slicks. It has fallen now within kill shot. Just the snowball, or not the snowball, but the scaling might have just not been there.
I'm gonna say it was the Galewind bow. We have seen the downfall from the beginning, right? We were watching those 2-3 games where he lost versus Soto versus Fox Spirit, and such grandeur. Like he was taking big losses, and since then it has just been continuing as he finds himself at the bottom, 9 HP and no real unit, it seems like, that can carry him out of this. Let's see how it goes versus Not Complain. With the 4 mud, oh my god.
Yeah, it's all going to be onto this forest not getting hit by a mud unit, which is going to be so tough. It is going up against the gorilla. The gorilla has not necessarily turned on it, so it's still got all of its damage, but now the ranger's onto it. It is going to start sapping away its stats, and look at how fast this thing melts once it gets targeted. Absolute heartbreaker here from Slicks. They were just crushing this lobby, and then they are just going to immediately get it reversed and turned around and end up getting crushed out of this lobby, I believe, in 6, unless somebody else fell.
Yes, Slicks out in 6, taking a big chunk there, -10. I'm a Fishy holding on with 2 HP and a dream, 7 fire units. And he might be able to scoop some up because a Furiox is gone from Slicks, a Ramp Fight from Dr. Spoon, a Cinch and a Furiox and a Raylu. Everybody was contesting his units even if they played a Fire Weapon or not. And as
Fox
a result...
has it too, so
yeah.
Still going to be tough to try and get these. And in this instance here, Fox did have a lot more credits, but actually upon the update, is everybody just broke right now? Everybody except Not Complain, it looks like.
Everything put all they had onto the board. And I'm just looking at that Seer from Fox Spirit. And we just watched Not Complain, so maybe we want to watch this here. I want to see how the Seer performs.
Well, it definitely needs to perform right here, right now, going up against Soda, who just fully evolved that Mammoth. And it is so tanky. Look at that shield. That is unbelievable. And of course, if it scales off of health, well, hey, this Mammoth has perfect health stats. So it is getting the absolute most value possible out of those augments. And it's holding the line quite nicely as they dive on towards this bunker. The Seer, it's an awesome looking alluvial. It's spinning to try and keep the squad alive, but it's getting stunned up consistently. Stunned, shunted, throw around. Could not get anything done. It is still hanging on. It's at least distracted this Jokal for a little bit. It's allowing for the Furiox to actually open fire onto the Jokal, but now here comes one more big stun that's on the entire bunker. The Mammoth very well could do it itself. A good charm coming out here from the Quinks is actually going to pull this Fernite out, so the damage that is there is going to get targeted, but the same thing with this Furiox. It didn't get stunned, and it's almost going to be able to pull this off. Sure enough, it is going to end up doing so. Beautifully done. A very interesting back and forth between both of them, and Sota was on a little bit of a win streak there for themselves, going to end up taking the loss in this one.
And both of our bot players holding on to it. Amafishy and Fox Spirit surviving another round, being so happy about this, just to find themselves in a death match against each other.
Jump Scare Polar Bear going to be coming on through in this one, it looks like, as well. Going to dive on through, try to assist some of these rogues, but at least it's not purely onto rogues. We have a lot of fighters, a couple of Scions, heck, even the Furiox in the background, but going up against this composition is going to be so tough. Very, very tight-knit, and they all have so much health.
Let's see it here. The Polar Bear in the bottom, stopped by the Crunk. Rampfight goes up into the air early, doing so much damage, hitting, I think, 6 unit. Goes one more time, won't be able to complete it. Monarch, Artes flies in, cannot complete it either. The backline here, doing so much damage, taking down the Chokul, and it's in a 2-on-2 here. Ranger and Fernite, Ranger and Furiox against Furiox and Fernite. Amafishy takes it. Well, Fox Spirit takes it. Amafishy is out, and we have the top 4.
The Fernite was the big difference there. That final tornado hits hit the Furiox on the side of Amafishy, completely neutering its attack speed, and that allowed for the Furiox there for Fox to just absolutely tear on through. It did end up focusing the Furiox first, burst it down, and then the Ranger, yeah, it does a ton of damage too, don't get me wrong, but when you are going up against that Furiox, it is not going to be able to match it. And now, as if the team wasn't already tanky enough, we have a Gnarl added onto the squad here for Fox Spirit.
Ooh. Yeah, Gnarl definitely a good find, and that will activate. Oh no, he had already Verdant activated before that. Problem is, without Colossus, Gnarl can be quite squishy. I'm curious how this will perform. It is, of course, level 60, and it has, of course, really good stats as well. So it is definitely a huge tank, as is the Seer. Seer just tanked 10,000 damage in the last round. I think Fox Spirit might be able to make an upset here. Sota could take him down. Also, Not Complain with the Muds could have a chance, but all these teams are looking really strong.
Fox's Gnarl gets also a couple of extra bonus points for me for being hollow. That thing is beautiful, but of course that doesn't actually affect the stats at all. It just looks cool. But yeah, Fox is going to be the one on the hot seat. Same thing here with Squawk, actually. Looking a little bit rough in this instance. Malura fully evolves now here for Not Complain, so it just makes it even worse here for Squawk. But they do have quite the front line. The only thing they're really missing is, of course, Gnarl. And Blotto is kind of set up to be like a carry of sorts almost.
Yep, we're only missing the Sinalfir for another Invoker stack, but everything else is looking really good for Squawk, with the Blotto being the main tank here, triple augments, and the C4s being the main damage dealer, with double stacking Omega power plus Invoker stacking Omega power. if you can hold on for a little while, this guy is gonna one-shot everything.
That's a glass cannon way to really do it, though. There is no, or not invulnerability, but you're not immune right now. You only have the 2 Scions, and the Sepphoris is so easily interruptible. Where's the Gorilla? That's what I'm looking for, actually. Stun coming up from the Goliath is going to stop the Sepphoris the first time by. Going to wind up for the second shot. Does it pull it off? It will, and it is going to be able to at least do some decent damage onto the Monk here and take out the Ranger, but there's still so many, and these stuns are getting absolutely obnoxious from the Goliath on the side of Not Complain. One more shot from the Sepphoris, one more stun coming out. It is going to hold up these red units for at least a little bit longer. A lot of the mud units actually fell. The only one that's left is going to be that Apon, but it is still going to be able to stop away a 2-on-6, but this is what they like to see. Clump them up like this, why don't you? Here comes the Sepphoris, winding up one more time, but he got stunned. That's exactly what I'm talking about. All your eggs were in the Sepphoris' basket, and you are going to get punished every time.
Oh my god, right plans, 30,000 damage, was just farming.
My goodness.
Insanity. Healing done by Archelli on 10,000 was not enough. And yeah, the Sepphoris got stunned, I think, at least out of 2 casts. That made a huge difference here for the team.
That last one was the heartbreaker, though. My goodness. It was in the midst of about ready to fire that thing. And
yeah,
just couldn't. That would have easily deleted 3 characters.
And that, yeah, might have almost given him enough health to survive. Ooh. Getting out in 4th here. And we have Fox Spirit, Sota, and Not Complain left. We're gonna watch the live match. Sota versus Not Complain. Let's see if one of them can take it. Fox Spirit really happy to be against the Ghost Army right now.
Yeah, Fox not going to complain about that in the slightest, but of course with Sota, with Not Complain again, just looking at these mud units, but who do we even really like focus on the other side here for Sota? It's just such an interesting comp. The double Arctase is going to fly on through, drop the fire across the board. The Mammoth, though, on the side is just, well, Sota is just going to get immediately melted. Here come the Arctases one more time, but actually all of the carriers are just going to start focusing this down. They are not going to let it do it again. Actually, never mind. They're going to get one more out of it, but you can fly around all you want. You have to land sometime, and these mud units, these fighters are not going to let you get away with that. And now it's just down to Fox Spirit. Can they actually hold? It doesn't look like they're going to. Not Complain is going to win game number 2.
Wow, Not Complain's Ghost and himself knocked out the last 2 players, and he does a double kill to take game number 2 here in the best of 5 grand finals of the Leviathan tournament. Love to see it. Was the first game also mud, or am I tripping?
Oh dear, mud was there, but I think it got 3rd or 4th.
Okay, but this was in dominating fashion. Of course, if you get a right plans with your mud, because he was uncontested, and I think like at one point when we said everybody's broke, Not Complain was the only one above 20 and still had 40 gold. Like he was able to find all his mud units fairly easy and then use this big power spike to get easily into the late game, stack up his economy, and then roll for things like Malura, for right plans, get a Goliath, and yeah, really, really strong team here.
Yeah, because that's what we do see happen to a lot of mud players, where they'll focus so hard on getting those 3 mud units, and sure, they'll be in a fantastic position, and they're great, and those will carry you for a lot of the early and into the mid game, sometimes even a little bit into the late game. But we oftentimes see like they have like a really lackluster front line, or they don't have much support, or there isn't an additional carry. You might have a Rip Taurus, but you might not have a Rip Lance, for example. But the way that Not Complain played this to allow themselves to have like a decent economy going on through, they can find these things. They found the Rip Lance, they found Goliath to actually tank, so the Monk here doesn't inadvertently tank, and you're not just relying on the Caradulo to tank for you, which is rather squishy compared to a tier 5 tank. And heck, finding a Malura, giving your Gorilla a dive, buddy? Beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the drone augments here. We got Combat Rhythm 1, very good stage 1 augment. For all stages, basically. We got Second Wind, 3rd stage, which is really good with the 7 Earth as well. And the percentage heal and Leviathan, really, really strong. And then Hyper Suppression. Enemies cannot generate Hyper, which definitely helped him against Sota and the air units here. And
It
yeah,
like nobody was playing water, but it wasn't water, it was air.
yep. There was a little bit of water, but yeah, no water players at all. Yesterday we saw a bunch of them. And today that has not been the case yet, but that might still change as we are getting ready for game number 3 already in the best of 5. So we are just before the halftime. Today we have halftime show from Beyonce live here in the studio. Can't wait to see.
Huh?
I'm joking.
I was gonna say, what are you cooking?
That would have been cool though. Yeah, you think I'm gonna swap cameras, throw on a dress, and then do a little halftime show? All right, so we do have the scores ready in a second. I'm really curious to see how the standings are looking.
I'm happy for Fox at least. They needed a better game number 2, and I think they pretty well got that. A third definitely going to make up for the 8th for the time being. But it looks like Soda leading the charge first and a second.
Yep, I'm just gonna do the quick spreadsheet magic.
There we go,
and
spreadsheet
here
magic.
we go. 15.
Yeah, Sota in the lead by
God.
a long shot right now. This is an extremely big lead for so early in this tournament. But of course, then the players that have been basically winning the other tournaments here in the Leviathan series. Slicks, of course, won the last 2. Right there behind them, that's a 3-way tie. Slicks, I'm a Fishy, and Not Complain from Hype with 10 each. Squawk right behind them with 8. Dr. Spoon and Fox Spirit with 7, and then Patat with 5. But my goodness, Sota, what was in your breakfast this morning? Because that is absolutely a fantastic start.
Yes, give me the same. That looks delicious looking at these scores. And Patat definitely a little bit in the bottom, but even him can still do this, right? It is a best of 5, so we don't have checkmate. So not the craziest upsets can happen. But still, if he like punches out 2 wins, boom, you're right back up there again. And Sota, you lose 1 game, boom, you're down in the bottom 4, most likely. So yeah, best of 5 is really good to have that big sample size. And we're gonna see much more action. These players are not out. Fox Spirit is fighting his way back up there from 1 point to 6 points. That's huge for him. Good to see. And yeah, Sota first and second. That's a strong start. He needs to solidify 1 more of those. And then he's looking pretty good for becoming our Leviathan tournament champion here.
And I honestly think Soda has a fantastic chance here, because look at the 2 teams that they played to actually perform this. It's not just going for fire. It's not just going for water. It was rogues and then like an air comp. Like, these aren't necessarily the most highly contested things. So it's not like you happen to get the boomerang and you happen to find Monarch first and everything went your way. No, you're actually giving yourself some pretty decent odds, because nobody is playing the comps, or very few people are playing the comps that you are. And then if someone's going to challenge you for rogues, you've been playing rogues since the IPL existed, if not before that. So like, you're one of the most experienced players to handle rogues. So if they just keep sticking to what they know, they don't have to worry about being contested as badly, and they could run away with this lobby.
Yeah, and I remember, like, which round are we on? Number 2? Okay, we're gonna jump into the game very soon. But I remember when all of this started with Gauntlet, and because we had our Illuvials before Gauntlet was here, and then Leviathan came out and all of this. Sota was, I remember like years ago, he was only buying and capturing rogues to get a perfect rogue team, right? Because you don't want to spread your resources too thin, have like half strong Illuvials for all of them and play everything. Ideally, I think you want to have 1 perfect team that you just try to hard force, and rogue has always been playable over the years of patches. And yeah, Sota by this time right now, I think he has a good team that he can play a lot of different things, as we saw. But he definitely has a perfect rogue team, and he has been playing this from the start. And this is also my tip for anyone out there who wants to get into Leviathan. Find a cheap composition, so maybe not all tier 5s and tier 4s. Rogues, especially back in the days, was all playing around tier 1 units. Or for example, Mud. The Mud composition is very cheap, and stuff like this. And yeah, maybe start with that if you want to invest into a Leviathan team.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, Mud is basically the perfect starter team.
Yeah, very budget friendly.
Yeah, that is incredible. 'Cause, yeah, I can walk away with at least an okay Mud team probably in a day. Obviously, finding the perfect Mud team is something that takes a long, long, long time, and then training them up and whatnot. But at least having access to it, that is actually the perfect starter Leviathan team.
Yeah, the problem is, it is... If you have another guy that
It is
only
risky.
has a Mud team, like, you're gonna be in trouble. It is...
Yeah, your consistency is going to be hurting.
But you definitely, you can perform on it. And yeah, like you said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Something that is like, if your units are above level 50, that's huge already. It doesn't have to be max level 60. And if your units look, for example, like this, you know, you have a few maxed out stats for the best ones, and then your Caradoodle, your tank doesn't have Omega power, well, it's not gonna make a huge difference, right? As long as it has good defensive stats, that's all you need on a tank. And then for damage dealer, as long as the offensive stats are somewhat maxed out, that's good. So you don't have to have 6 out of 6 perfect Illuvials all around to compete in Leviathan. Hell, there is even a Grocco in here, which looks very, very slim.
Yeah, at least it's got health, though. It knows its job.
Yeah. Yep. As we see it here, with the best players, right? There is a Grocco with a really bad health stat. And yeah, I've also not tried to collect my tier 0s, because you gotta cut your expenses at one point. And just not play so much tier 0s, but yeah, this Wink is beautiful. But level 47, right? We missed a bunch of stats right there. So all of these players have not everything of all the players is level 16 perfect stats. There's a lot of discrepancies, and that's still enough to compete here.
Yep, absolutely. Now it's time by. We're on Brightland Steps, so we're in for a longer one. Everybody started off at 130 health, of course. And then when we do have these weapons up ahead here, and Soda, I believe, got the Fire Empath Staff again, so maybe a little bit of a rinse and repeat from last time. We see the 2 boomerangs down towards the bottom there of Dr. Spoon and Slicks both picking that one up. We're going to see that Scion Earth Shield coming out once again here for Squawk. We have the Earth Buckler as well coming out here for I'm a Fishy. I think this is the first time we're seeing this in the grand final. Not Complain going to see our first Aqua Blaster. So I expect a Umber in our future. And then Fox Spirit has that Arrow Edge, which anytime I see Arrow Edge, I still think that they're either just pure fighter, or that's probably getting rolled at some point. And then Patat has the Rogue Gauntlets there, the Empath variant. Or not the Empath. That's an old throwback there. But the Quake Maulers.
Quake Maulers, indeed. The Knuckle Punchers, and yeah, double Boomerang. Let's see how they are gonna be doing. One of them is gonna perform really well, and one really poorly is my expectation. And it's very brave of Dr. Spoon to take on to contest Slicks. I've done this many times. Usually always when I see him, I try to screw him up, but he's probably the hardest
How's that
player.
work for you?
No, sometimes of course, but usually like the majority of times I screw myself up by trying to play 2 games at the same time, basically. My own and hindering his gameplay.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, so...
Both Slicks and Dr. Spoon found a Fury already, and that was at level 4. That
is huge.
Quite a find. I think like maybe a 2%, maybe 5% chance of finding that.
Yep, you slap a big Force Reactor augment on them, and they're gonna perform already really well. Even being a stage 1, they're gonna do a lot of damage. And yeah, we also see Not Complain here with the double Lynxes, so that's a huge find for him. And yeah, Soto the only top player without a Lynx here.
Yeah, but yet they're still doing all right. Just using the tier 0s, and the Rota is actually the first non-tier 0 they're going to throw here onto the board. And one thing that actually is a possibility, because again, other than the Fire Empath Staff, the only way to get a Fire Empath is if the Tipo ends up being Fire. It does happen to be Fire this game. Part of me wants to see, is Inferno Mystic a possibility?
Inferno Mystic, I think that could be good. Especially for the early mid-game. Inferno is just so strong. Like, finding an Artes early is such a huge boost to your power level. The only one who has an ace so far, though, is Dr. Spoon. So that's still somewhat far out. That's a unit that I like to roll for early on as well.
Especially in this patch, because it's just so critical in getting your Inferno online as fast as possible. And you know there's probably other Fire players that want to do the same. Sota did end up finding a Lynx, by the way, and they evolved this thing already to a middle stage evolution. So nice finds there. But in our battle at hand, we have Amafishy and Squawk. Amafishy looks like they're kind of set up here for a bit of a Granite, maybe a Magma kind of style composition. Tianti's going to be the big damage dealer in this instance, but they don't have too much tank left. That Axon is going to end up falling. Now Tianti's kind of getting messed with, but it's a lot of low health bars. It's going to wind up. Here's the charm. It's not going to be able to cast, and it should end up falling because that cast could not come out.
That is it. Squawk starting on a loose streak, which is not a problem in Brightland Steppes. Still 9 HP.
Yeah, you're not worried.
Above. So is Dr. Spoon, and they're battling it out. So I'm really curious here if we're gonna see some of these players last second ruining their board. For example, just swapping out this Gorilla with the Wink last second, just to remove all your power level and lose on purpose. I like to do that. It's something that's more prevalent in TFT. But you're gonna be sacrificing a lot of HP as well. Maybe you also think, hey, I'm done with lose streaking. If I win this, I go invest into a win streak, or otherwise I keep on a lose streak. But yeah, Squawk is gonna win this. Dr. Spoon stays on the lose streak, which is a win for him in my book.
Absolutely. Yeah, you've taken a bunch of damage, but hey, you're still above 100 at this point. You're not complaining in the slightest. The game hasn't even truly started in a sense, but eventually there's going to have to be a point, though, where you have to start hitting the gas, and we'll see when that does end up coming through. But still plenty of time. May I bug you to see what the fully evolved Lynx would be this time? I know it's a Nimble, but what element?
Let's see it. It is a water.
Okay, so that's probably... I don't see somebody focusing evolving that thing, at least not this time. But it's still going to be pretty decent here in this early game.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to look a little bit more at stats and levels. We had some feedback saying players would like to see more with what the contestants are cooking with, basically. As we watch Squawk and Sota here battle it out, and this Gorilla is a menace. And so is the Nimble Lynx with 5,000 damage. But also the enemy team has a Nimble Lynx, and this one has a little bit more augments. He's going to be able to take down that Gorilla. Big win here for Sota, stays on a win streak, and Patat is still on 130 HP with his rogues. Let's check out what he's doing.
I mean, trying to right-click onto that Gorilla as it's zipping all over the place is actually rather difficult. Ooh, that thing is a beauty. Was that perfect and fully leveled?
Perfect, and level
really
60.
That is, you literally can't get any better than that. Nicely done, nice find there for Patat. And they need a fantastic game here to kind of drown out the first two. Already sitting here at 130, relatively comfortable with a bunch of solid rogues.
A perfect
exactly
Laura
what they need.
As well, this stat right here is movement speed, which doesn't give you any combat strength. Sometimes it helps you a little bit, sometimes it's also not so good to have movement speed, so I consider this a perfect one. Also level 60, even on a tier 1, which is crazy commitment here. Perfect Chukundi as well. The Predators are stacked up. And the Nimble Lynx right here doesn't have his defensive augments, his defensive stats, but high level and everything offensive activated. Patat versus Sota, win streak versus win streak. Huge game for both of these players, and we can see it. Patat just has more power on the board, more damage on the board. The Predators outperforming, the Gorilla outperforming the fully augmentized Nimble Lynx. That is a sign that you have made a mistake with these augments, and Gorilla has just earned himself all these free augments off the Lynx in my book.
And that like Enchanter style kind of coming out there from Sota, that was like a really, really cool way to kind of give yourself a little bit of extra bonus damage, a little bit of like a little bit of damage, a little bit of extra healing early on to maybe just try and sway these fights. And of course, Kukulus being able to just stun lock somebody for quite a long time. I think it's like 2-3 seconds at some point, but especially going up against a rogue, just happen to get that stun off on a critical rogue, and they end up getting popped, taking more damage at the same time. Everybody sleeps on the bird, but it is still such a valuable unit.
Big shout out here to Sota, because I said earlier he got a perfect rogue team early on. He's playing rogues, and we see a perfect Wink, level 40, a perfect Cuculus, 52, a perfect Lynx, level 56, even a perfect perfect Ace, level 50.
Oh my goodness.
A level 60 perfect Gorilla, and a level 60 perfect Revo. It's a little bit easier with all these tier 1 units, way cheaper to acquire, but the levels still take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and also cost a little bit. So yeah, big shout out to him. I'm curious what his ramp fight will be like.
And I guess that's also just the perfect opportunity to just kind of showcase how when you have a certain style and you're going for a certain team in particular, and you spend so much time on it, you can absolutely cook up absolute monsters. But now these rogues and these air units are just going to end up diving directly into a brick wall, which we see Slicks having up here, opting for a more bunker-esque kind of composition. And sure, you might be able to sustain a little bit. You see those pink flashes, of course, that's from the Enchanter. But as of this moment, there is just not enough damage to break through. Granted, they've actually taken a couple of these bulwarks out here. Crunk is still here. The blind is going to make things annoying. Actually, it doesn't even come out. I think the stun might have stopped it from truly coming out. But with Cuculus falling, we will see Slicks stop the win streak here for a second.
17,000 damage on the Fury. That is nasty.
And it's just a little guy, and it's doing that much damage. My goodness.
Once that is a Furiox. Hold up.
Finding the Disruptive Force Reactor too so early is just so perfect for a little Furiox.
Yeah.
Was it Disruptive? No, just it's 2 of the Charge Force ones.
Double
That's
charged.
So much damage.
Double charged, and then we have Lucid here for stacking up Omega power as well. So really happy with those long fights. And
yeah, so it didn't care it was going up against air at all. It may not have been shooting fast, but it was basically a cannon.
Yep. I'm close to swapping down to Not Complain here with the first full water team that we see. But first we're gonna watch Dr. Spoon versus Sota. And Dr. Spoon is gonna have a hard time here with all his fire units. They're all going hyperactive. Ooh. But Spoon is just... Sota is just so far ahead of the curve, it seems like. That was fast. 8-7, 8-8 damage from Berminio. Wowie. That is for sure a perfect one. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it can't be hyper if you're dead. My goodness, everything just dropped so quickly in that instance. Did not matter that the type disadvantage was there. Just so much damage. Again, that from Berminio, I think it found the perfect spot to kind of jump in, because that wasn't a true bunker. Like, they were kind of putting themselves into the corner, but they eventually moved away, let that Berminio in there, and yeah, it just hit so hard.
Yes, sir. I do enjoy looking through these Illuvials a lot. Because right now, for example, Sota, it doesn't get better. 60, perfect. 60, perfect. 60, 52, perfect. 60, perfect. And 60, perfect. So all of his top damage dealers are perfect. And then we look onto his enemy team. Pretty much the same. Furiox here misses a bit of resistance. Yeah, but also pretty much decked out. Enemy team is mostly level 50 though, so Amafishi might have a harder time. As we swap down to Dr. Spoon versus Slick. Slick's on a win streak here. Dr. Spoon is gonna have a hard time. But he wants to stabilize rather soon, so let's see how that goes.
Yeah, Slick's having the true bunker up against the kind of corner comp coming out here from Dr. Spoon. A lot of damage relying here onto that Arctase, onto the little Riptorus, and then on the little Fury in the corner. But there is just so much healing. Look at the Fury here for Slicks. It is basically just having free fire. It doesn't have to worry about a damn thing, and it just gets to pick its targets and just essentially have target practice. It does find the opposing Fury, and it's going to be able to clean it up extremely quickly. Dr. Spoon just does not have the front line to back that Fury up.
Yep, that was rather fast as well. Slick's here, by the way, playing Wildfire. Toxic. We haven't seen that at all yet. Just making the best out of what he got. He got a Boomerang, he got a Crunk. That's an easy Wildfire early on. If you don't find
Yeah, that
Artes, you
works.
gotta get crafty.
Oh, that's actually really, really interesting. I definitely am looking forward to seeing how they pivot with that. I personally love watching Wildfire succeed, but we definitely don't see it very, very often. Finding a forest actually this early is going to be quite nice, but we're still here with Dr. Spoon, see if they can turn things around against these rogues.
Yes, we see the Riptorus locked in just for a second because the outside tank got taken down just as fast. Here comes a level 57 decked out Rampy and one-shots the whole team. Look at that, 7,700 damage. Super strong Rampy in these mid-game scenarios where the bunker is not big enough yet to block out Rampy, and it hits so many units.
Yeah, that damage bar, the light blue is ability damage, right? Or the Omega power damage?
Mm-hmm.
That was basically the entire bar. That Rampy's entire damage cycle that time was just purely off that Omega. It found the sweet spot, and if it didn't one-shot you, it basically, like, three-quarter chunked you. Let's get another look at this.
Let's check it out one more time, because you love to see it. If you're not on the receiving end, it's always lovely to see that little bastard go crazy. And let's see how many units it actually hits. It is in a decent spot. I thought it didn't hit the backline, but yep. Sure enough, instant one-shot. 4 out of 6 units. The rest is down to basically nothing. Alright.
It's definitely one of the more polarizing alluvials. It's easily one of the coolest in the entire game, but it's also one of the most rage-inducing if you just accidentally leave the slightest of holes for the Rampy to slide into.
Yep. I think something that might be changed in the future as well is that Illuvials always have the same, occupy the same size and the same hexes, no matter their evolution. So for example, this Fury right now has such a big square that it occupies, but that is because this is the same size that it also is reserved for Furiox and Scoriox, which are way bigger. So I think in the future, we might, this might get changed, and for example a Rampy will have an easier time slipping into those backline cracks because it will have a smaller space occupied than a Ramfire, for example. Here Fury tried its best but will fall to its older brother Furiox.
Yeah, that Furiox is looking pretty good here. They eventually want, I imagine, swap out that augment on the left there that scales off of your health, but still, even right here, right now, the old Chrono Flux and the old Fate Sealer on top with that is just going to do so much damage.
Alright, we're gonna stay with Dr. Spoon here in the bottom as he tries to get out of this. He needs a top 4 if he wants to contend the top spots. He hasn't had 2 good games in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, looking for their little breakout opportunity, and they do not have much left in the tank in regards to their HP, so hopefully we'll see them turn it around here. Fox Spirit looking to shut them down, though, with what looks like a is this going to be a Spore attempt, maybe, later on down the road, I wonder? Because the air weapon, I mean, they have Spore on the range already, but in this instance anyway, it's not quite available. But there is still just so many high health bars right here for Fox Spear. Looking for that Verminio cast. It's going to go just directly into the Singe. Decent amount of damage coming on through. But can Riptorus maybe turn this around alongside the Arcdays? Rampy is still here as well. Actually, even Little Fury's in the corner. I didn't even see him there. Is going to be able to open fire. And that's a good win here for Dr. Spoon. And it's going to essentially shut down their low streak. But maybe turn this thing around. Fox Spear going to take the hit. Knocked down to 69.
Yes, sir. Big damage coming out from the supposedly tank on the team. The Singe doing a lot there. And yeah, we're gonna see how this one goes versus Double Rake. This looks scary. Very scary. A Sinaf as well. Wow.
You ever see in other games where a character is just so good, but it's meant to be a damage dealer, and then people say, just screw it, I'm going to play this as a support? Well, that's the second Rake here. It's just like, you know what? I could get an actual support, but no. My other Rake is going to be support. It has the green augments. It even has the Phase Breaker as well, just to keep itself alive just a little bit longer. But all these rogues, all these fighters are going to dive on in, and then there's a Sinolf.
Yep, interesting position here from the side of Dr. Spoon, sacrificing its Ranger super early on here. Fury will fall just after that. Ramfy this time not gonna be able to kill the whole enemy team, and the double rake, hyperactive, fully augmentized, and a Sinnoff in the back is gonna be super dominating. It's gonna win this round here versus Dr. Spoon.
Like, oh, you want to take flight and avoid the fighters? Well, hey, that's what the Sinolf's here for. That shoots you down from the skies. That is a ridiculous team coming out here from Not Complain. One more dash shows up on their board as well, and they will have that Umber. So basically uncontested potential super carry scenario, and there it is. Umber online. Now they just have to change the augments for it, I'm imagining. Yeah, they're getting one to work on that right here, right now. Does have the ultimate skeleton as well, so it's just getting tankier and healing as it gets takedown after takedown. It gets those Omegas and the smoke screens out that much faster thanks to what I call the engine, but it's the attacks generate energy augment. I can't remember what it's actually called here. The tessellating Omega reactor, there it is. But it's got basically everything it wants, including a little bit of bonus healing the later this game goes.
Yep, it gets extra energy, even though it is already 8 water, so it... Look at that mana bar. It's filling up so fast, gets already its first cast, and it's just ticking up. It is level 60, by the way, with perfect stats. This is scary looking for the rest of the team, as Not Complain with ease takes down Squawk right here. And I don't think anyone will take down Not Complain for quite some time. This 8 water, 2 steam, 2 toxic team will dominate this lobby until the late game, I assume.
Yeah, you need an entire army to shut down that Umber in this instance, and unfortunately for the rest of the opponents, well, hey, the Umber has friends. There are so many other Alluvials you have to get through first before even being able to target the dang thing, and it probably just crushed your team to begin with. The biggest hope, in my opinion, is actually probably our lobby leader, but Tat does have the slash in, which if it focuses that Umber for just a moment, while maybe the Malura, or maybe the Quinks, or maybe a taunt from the Gorilla, some way to actually lock up that Umber for just a second, you only have a split second to burst it. And a slash in with the augments it currently has here, the charge force and the piercing especially is going to do so much damage, but you do not have much time to get that done.
Yep. And I just wanted to also point out Not Complain has the combat rhythm, so stacking damage plus stacking Omnibam.
Oh, even better.
So yeah. I think very much that he just won the game right here. But I am even happier to be proven wrong. So we're gonna see him definitely in the late game no matter what, as we go down to the bottom, where we still find Dr. Spoon now at 10 HP with a Bloato, with a Right Plant. Found some units that could be a win condition for him, but it might be too little too late.
Yeah, and that's kind of awkward too. Like, granted, you have Blotto, that's a fantastic tank, but you're not really going to be able to utilize the Aegis portion of that Arya. I don't think there's any way that they could possibly find that. So as much as they would love to just supercharge this Rip Lance in this instance, they cannot quite do that. And it's way too late to try and find an Archos, I think, which is just too bad, because look at this thing. It is beautiful. It is fully loaded, fully evolved, the best possible stats you can get. And then I think that's a level 60 on top of all that. My eyes aren't deceiving me.
Yep, it is level 60. And if you don't remove those 2 augments here and give your Bloato and your Right Plants with perfect stats and levels 3 augments each, I'm very mad. And keep it on this Ramfy. The Ramfy performed 1 time. That was already more than to be expected. Now, please give your huge main carries and main tanks 3 augments. That is such an important thing to do. As I am ranting on here, the match is already in full effect, and the Right Plants plus everything else, it seems like it's not going to be enough. The last unit standing are the 2 tanks, so there has been a little problem in positioning, I would assume. And it might still be enough, because those are strong, but the Inferno damage is taking max health, and it's taking so fast. Dr. Spoon is going to get knocked out here in last place in game number 3, Leviathan Best of 5 Grand Finals.
And not only did the Ramfy have stuff, but look, just move one of those attack damage augments over to Rip Lance. It's... We see the little Fury had all the augments, and there's the big old Rip Lance right there.
Yeah.
I just genuinely feel bad. It's definitely lots to think about, but I can only imagine if you only lost by that much. I can only imagine what the augment difference could have been. I get maybe keeping the old Fate Sealer, the Disruptive, onto Fury because it's setting up the Clumsy, but
yeah,
I don't know. That definitely hurts. I'm not the professional here, but that definitely seems odd from the outside looking in.
No, definitely he will review this match and will find, okay, I made a mistake here. I should have actually put the augments on the most important units, and this is a small mistake to stuff that I make on a regular basis because there is so many things to consider. Positioning, re-rolling, augments, and 10 other things to consider at the same time, and there's like 30 seconds preparation time. So if you just missed out on that, it's still a job well done. But yeah, it's very easy for us to see those mistakes and just hope for their sake they wouldn't make them. As I'm talking again on my rant, Fox Spirit is knocked out in 7th position with his air team.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. As soon as I see Arrow Edge, I assume something's going to go wrong. And it's not that the weapon's bad by any means, but just what it enables is just so different compared to the rest of the game. And unfortunately, just did not quite work out here for Fox Spirit, so that's a rough one. 7th place, they're going to be knocked out here. We could lose another. We do see Squawk with the Boomerang, of course, with this Fire-based team going up against I'm a Fishy, who has a bunch of units that they would want, and it's Magma, so they're all going to be running into their death.
Yep, that is gonna be rough. The Gnarl, the Scoriox, this team from I'm a Fishy just looks supercharged. Both Artes flying in, Ramfight casts a big Omega, might be able to take down the Scoriox with the Inferno, with another Ramfight cast. Is it gonna be enough? Yes, gets it through. It is enough, but the rest of the team has already been melted. And that's gonna be it here for Squawk, taking a lethal hit down in 6th position.
I mean, this is a perfect spot, I think, now here for I'm a Fishy, considering I think the lobby leader is running Rogue, so they're immediately going to be just diving in on top of the Magma. The Umber from Not Complain is going to be diving in on top of the Magma. Granted, you have to also watch out for that Sin-Off, though, so it's not all, like, cruise control from here. But opting for this Magma style instead by finding that Scoriox is just going to enable such a fantastic play, but at the same time, you got to position this properly. You don't have a true bunker, so every tank needs to be right in the perfect spot.
Yes, as we watch I'm a Fishy here trying to take on Sota. Sota has been performing so well in this match. Is he gonna be enough to beat I'm a Fishy here in this fight?
And this was a little awkward there. The Verminio snuck in onto the Scoriox and did a bunch of damage, including taking out the Eve. So the healing on the side of the green team here is going to end up falling. I'm officially going to just have to win this off pure firepower. But this is where the Scoriox starts to snowball a little bit. That Disruptive Force Reactor, of course, giving you attack speed every time you eliminate something. And look at it go. It is firing through everything. And the rest of the squad doing exactly what they need to do. And that will be a big shot towards Sota.
Beautiful augmentization here on that Scoriox, with stacking attack speed plus your attack steal, additional energy damage. It's just huge damage coming out. Not Complain, yep, on the win streak as we thought. Patat hasn't met him yet because they're both on a win streak. I think next match we're gonna see some interesting matches.
Yeah, 100%. Slicks is going to be on the bubble, possibly to be eliminated here in this instance, but then seeing both of our top players going at it would be absolutely ridiculous. I wonder what would happen when you have all of these rogues up against this Steam-based composition. What ends up going down?
Yep, we're sure to find out very soon. Slicks, like you said, on the bubble. Does he still rock his Infernos? I think he's... looks like Shock. His Ranger is just... Wait, what? His Ranger is Shock Berserker? That must be a mistake, right? Surely to be changed very soon. We'll see here as repositioning.
Not utilizing anything.
No, it must have been a mistake that he either doesn't see or he's gonna undo very soon. Right now he's spreading out to not let his Furiox or Ranger be hit by the enemy Fern Omega. So right now Fern versus Fern are the Fernite versus Fernite. are the furthest units. So those are going to attack each other with the whirlwind. No rogue is coming in. There's double granite in the front line. So much tankiness on the side of Amafishi. I think Slicks is out here. Oh, he didn't. The ranger is useless.
Yeah, they kept it as the shock berserker, which is not going to be enabling any of the composites, which is unfortunate because wildfire at the very minimum could have been there. Will it be the difference maker? I'm not necessarily sure. Good Fernite shots coming on through to at least slow down the Scoriox, but it's not been actually stunned or truly interrupted. It is just free firing on this front line. It has nothing at all that could possibly challenge it. And when it comes to Scoriox versus Furiox, well, there's a reason why Scoriox is the fully evolved one. We're going to see that alongside the rest of this squad here from Amafishi. Just absolutely dominate Slicks in this instance. Take the way knocking Slicks out in bit.
Well played, Amafishi. His team is just so far ahead of Slicks' team at this point. Even a perfect ranger wouldn't have made a difference. But it's interesting to see these veteran players make so rudimental mistakes. And this just is another confirmation that Leviathan is a little bit harder to play than the normal game. Because there's another layer of things to think about on top of it, with your Illuvials all having different strengths. And some of them maybe are not leveled, and then you cannot play anything if you don't have a perfect team all around.
Absolutely. One part preparation, one part execution, and sometimes you just run out of time. You run out of bandwidth, and there's nothing you can do. Fully evolved Mammoth now here for Sota right when they needed it most, because they are on the bubble going up against lobby leader. Patat also now has a Monarch online. Not built to be the carry, but it's still going to be super effective when it comes to dropping all the fire across the board. Looking at the slashing as well, it's got basically everything it could possibly want outside of legendary augments. Let's see how this goes.
Yes, I was just looking at the stats. Monarch, really bad stats here, so definitely a little bit underperforming, but it's gonna burn. Nevertheless, Ramfight goes up into the air, does pretty much no damage at all, even though it is almost the perfect Ram fight. It tries one more time, still not a lot of damage, and the Vermilia here doing so much for the enemy team. Yeah, Monarch, even though look at those stats and level. This is a $1 Monarch. This is nothing you need, but it was the 15,000 damage top damage dealer. So yeah.
Again, just
Amafishi's out.
May lack
sorry.
Oh jeez, I did not even notice. Just was going up against. I think it would have been Not Complain, which I mean, again, that Umber, we know it's scary. And not only is the Umber scary, but how about the Rip Plants behind it? That thing is also rather terrifying. So maximizing is on that toxic benefit as well. And this, I am so worried here for Sota, because I just worry that this Umber and this Replant is just going to tear it a new one. And based off this positioning as well, here comes a Sin-Off Beam, and it's getting some serious value. It's actually assisting the Umber in this instance, but the Umber is getting stun locked. The Cuculus is right there, trying to stun it up one more time. It stuns it again! Umber is down! The big carry is down! But how about the Riplants? Can it turn for the rest of the squad? Sin-Off has fallen as well. Vermilier is going to be able to stun this up. A good charm from the Gazatep, and that is exactly what we're looking for. The Cuculus is a little tier 1 middle stage evolution, but the stun was just enough to lock down the Umber.
Sota takes down Not Complain after, I think, what must have been a 15-game win streak, something along these lines. Maybe a 10-game win streak, and this Umber just had no chance in the backline versus the Empath, versus the Kukuluraf from Sota. You love to see it. Sota maybe onto something here, but next time he's gonna go up versus Patat. That might...
Ramfire online now here for Patat. Is that going to be the firepower necessary to burn through the rest of these Illuvials so you can get on to that Umber? Of course, we see this Umber is definitely not immortal. It can be beaten, but a lot of things have to go your way. That Ramfire went to skies, but it basically did a quarter HP, if that, even with the Omega Power Augments on top of it. This is not looking very, very good here for Patat. Even though they have fantastic Illuvials, they will take a hit, knocked down to 6, and we lose Sota, actually. They went up against a Ghost and got taken down, and now this is troublesome. Not Complain might have just found the icing on the cake by finding that duel left.
That is heartbreaking for Sota, because he was beating Not Complain. So if he would have survived one more round, Patat would have been knocked out. He might have won the whole lobby, but He got knocked out by the ghost of Patat. And yeah, he's out in 3rd place. Not Complain versus Patat. This we just saw this, and the Umber went hyperactive. And Patat had no chance, even with the ramp fire. Let's see the stats on that bad boy. Perfect Omega power, attack speed. That's all you need. Missing resistances, but really, really good offensive ramp fire here.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate there for Sota. Yes, the Kukulus was fantastic at locking down the Umber, but what it could not do was lock down a whole team of Illuvials jumping at you, which those rogues were able to absolutely do. You can crowd control them one, but you can't crowd control them all. And now this is going to be extremely, extremely interesting where this positioning ends up taking place, because Not Complain, of course, has some fantastic carries. I'm looking especially at that Dual F now. Could very well be a difference maker to open up the door for this Umber.
Yeah, this is gonna be a huge fight here. It's gonna be the slash-in. I think is still the star of this rogue team here versus the Umber. But there is so much more to go behind those main carries. We got a Riplands, we got a Dual F, we got a Blotto and a Seer in the backline. So really a lot of damage here from Not Complain, but so strong tanks. You see it here in the backline. Those rogues are gonna take like 10 seconds to just chew through the first one. There is still a Blotto behind it. In the meantime, the Dual F perfect lays into the backline, taking down everything that Patat had standing back there. The Umber falling really low though. Here comes a Rampfire Omega taking it down. The Riplan's still there, hacking and slaying away, killing the slash-in. Rampfire one more time. It's not gonna be enough. That's gonna be it. Minus 25 in dominating fashion. Not Complain wins game number 3 here in the best of 5 finals.
I thought Patat had that there for a second. The fact that the Umber could not kill off the Gazatep by itself meant that the Dual F had to use 2 water beams for the Gazatep itself, and it wasted so much time. But I completely slept on the Riplance. It did so much damage. It stayed so healthy that entire fight that it was able to clean it up.
Yeah, here we're gonna watch the replay. There was so much things happening, so I wanna see it again. Yeah, Dual F plus Umber just targeting the same unit is so strong. Rampfire. First Omega hits absolutely nothing. Should have positioned in the right corner. And yeah, Riplance, secondary carry. Hyperactive. Gets pretty low here, but heals up so fast. With combat rhythm. Cool, man.
Nicely done.
What an exciting match. I love it. Brightland Stabs, all those stage 3 units. It's always really, really exciting seeing those decked out compositions, and that's something we're gonna get in the next patch, because economy is gonna be getting a boost, and so things like this are gonna be more common. And on the other side of the spectrum, Brightland Stabs has to go. And this might have been the absolute last time that you see a Brightland Stabs region in Illuvium, at least for a while. Maybe it comes back in the future in some shape or form.
Yeah, absolutely. If I recall correctly, based off the patch, like basically we're getting more credits every single level. How much it takes to actually level to or get to the next level to get one more Illuvial on the board and start looking for some of those later game ones is going to be like, the strategies are basically completely blown open because you can do it so much faster now. Like,
yeah,
usually say level 10, for example, we never see it unless it's like an all-in Hail Mary move at the very, very end of the game. But now, genuinely getting up to like a fast level 8, fast level 9, and like consistently seeing late game level 10, that is going to be incredible to see. I can't wait for the patch to come out. I'm thankful it didn't come out too soon, though, because imagine trying to do this grand finals on a brand new patch. And I am very, very thankful that the developers are 100% on board with everything here, and not just the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing, so to speak, and just firing off a patch and completely throwing off the competitive scene. So thank you for that. But I do look forward to when that patch comes out.
Yes, you're very generous to the players, calling them left hands when the developers are the right hand. Maybe it's the brain not doing what the little finger is doing. I don't want to pump the egos of our players too much, but you're completely right. It's great to see that the developers are basically holding out, or the team, the Illuvium team, is just waiting right now with the patch to bring it on. And it's gonna come, I think, probably after this tournament, maybe tomorrow. But this is not not less stressful for the players because the IPL World Championships are around the corner and they have 2 weeks to prepare for them, basically 1.5 weeks until I don't even believe it, 1.5 weeks till the first day of our World Championship starts. So yeah, we're gonna see everyone a lot of practicing in the ranked arena.
Especially if it happens to come out tomorrow, all y'all trying to get into the final, like the last call. You got a lot of work to do. So it'll be a fun time nonetheless. But let's take a look at our standings currently. Again, Soda, another podium finish, keeps them on top by 3 points, it looks like. Not Complain with the 2 wins in a row, making a comeback here. I'm officially short to follow after the 4th in that instance. Slicks, 5th in that game, going to end up falling down to 4th overall. Patat, a good shot back up through the rankings here, going to get moved up to 5th. Squawk currently shown in 6th, Fox Spirit 7th, Dr. Spoon in 8th.
Yes, sir. It is looking quite tight. Sota keeps extending his lead from 8 points to 7 points to 6 points. Let's see if he keeps continuing on this downward trend, but he is still 3 points ahead of 2nd place. And then 2nd place is 3 points ahead of 3rd place. And then it's a little bit closer together. So there is definitely a good chance still for everyone in the top 5-6 to win this tournament. Nobody's out yet. Even Fox Spirit and Dr. Spoon at the bottom are pretty close to the rest of the pack. So even if they step it up and, for example, win the next 2 matches, we could see craziness unfold. But yeah, Sota definitely looking really good in this tournament already.
And looking good, but this could all be thrown away with one bad game. You find yourself at the 7th or an 8th, God forbid, in one of these games, and Not Complain, Fishy, Slicks, anybody just has a pop-off moment. If there's an instance where, let's say, like Sota gets an 8th, but then Not Complain gets a 7th, then okay, you're not feeling too bad. But if that's not the case, Sota has a rough game, and everybody else starts essentially popping off, this is still absolutely within striking distance. It's not like you have an 8-point gap where you're on cruise control. You still have to keep pushing.
Yeah, exactly. And we see it from Not Complain, right? He started... By the way, these numbers are points. So when we talk about 8, that means not 8th place. That means 1st place, you get 8 points. So it's exactly turned around. And Not Complain started with 7th place with 2 points. And then he punched out 2 victories. So right now the trend looks like if Not Complain keeps going like this, he's gonna take over Soda in no time. And yeah, everything can turn in the next game, which is on the way very soon. I think maybe our players have a little break and we might just do the same, refill our water. What do you say?
I was saying it has been 3 games. I think they might be on a break. Actually.
Yeah, I think there is a little bit of an extended break and we're gonna do the same right here. I would advise the viewers the same. Stand up, move your feet, get some snacks and drinks, and we're gonna be right back with game number 4 here in the Leviathan Tournament Series. See you in a minute. We are back with game number 4 in this best of 5 finals right here, and we are ready to rumble. Our players have already joined the game, and we're gonna join them in a second here as well.
Is that the Chikondi suit?
Yes, it is the Chikondi sound. Toriel gifted it to me on my birthday. Shout out to her.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, very, very generous. Very cool. I love that suit. Just gotta grab the code and then we start.
Sounds good.
Here we go.
Two more games to go here.
2 more games. Tiger Boreal is where we're gonna battle it out in game number 4 here.
All right, something a little more traditional, something a little bit more tame. What kind of Tiger Boreal did you happen to see? Do we get stage 3 or stage 2 augments? What are we looking at?
Let's see it.
Oh, we just get to reroll one more time.
Drone augments can be rerolled one more time. Yes, very tame, very classic, as classic as it gets in Illuvium. Love to see it.
Well, at least nobody should be complaining then that they did not get the drone augment that they wanted, because you have plenty of rolls then to try and find the exact thing that you need for your composition. Which in theory, I think we're at round 7 now. We can let's take a look at some weapons.
Yes, sir. I know one person that won't complain, and he's currently...
The guy leading the leaderboard?
Yes, the leader right here at the top. Not complain from hype. With the title shift, interesting. Maybe looking at Umber Carry's team. Let's see about that. We got the Elderwood staff here coming out from Amafishi. Interesting. Quake Maulers from Sota once again. Roof Sword from Spoon. We'll see if that will change later on. Usually it does. Strike Boomerang from Slicks once again. We got Arrow Edge from Patat. Oh no. The Aqua Blaster from Fox Spirit. And then the Flame Warden staff from Squawk. So, yeah, a lot of new weapons and not very... yeah, different ones.
Yeah, so the vibe that I'm getting here is they're wishing that Tigra Boreal was like going to re-roll my weapons one more time, because it doesn't look like very many people actually have weapons that they are very, very like accustomed to, or at least we haven't seen them with very, very often in this instance. Like, we hardly ever see Groove Sword. Not that it's bad, but again, similar instance where you're kind of limited as to where you can go from here. But I think Dr. Spoon has the right idea. You couldn't go for a Toxic Berserker once you start getting that Riptor evolved into the Riptors and Riplants. But then, of course, Arrow Edge, definitely a little bit harder weapon to use, but Squawk using like the Fire Empath weapon, don't see that too often. We don't see the title ship either that often, the Water Rogue weapon, but it could give your Umber a dive, buddy.
Yeah, I'm really curious who is gonna reroll. Last round we had also some weapon rerolls where we ended up with 3 boomerangs in the end. But it's always so hard to remember who did it. So I'm gonna take a screenshot right now.
That's a good idea.
Later on we can make a little comparison and see who swapped their weapons. Let's start at top. I'm a fishy on a win streak right here. With the staff. Not bad. And the links in the front line.
Okay, which goes... Oh, it's actually the nature variant as well, so that actually could be very, very valuable in a bunker style composition. So I'm curious if we'll maybe see a fully evolved Lynx at some point here, but because there are so many Lynxes, it's kind of hard to get ones with good stats, especially since you don't necessarily see one in every single game. But in this instance here, with I'm a Fishy trying to get that Lynx one more heal, it is not going to come on through. And I think they might just get powered through here by the red side. The Little Fury on the far side doing a fantastic job. But what about this shield coming out here from the Ranger for I'm a Fishy? Good shield. This is a very, very big shield on top of that. You may not necessarily have the damage, but you can just win off sustain. I eat my words. Little Fury is going to end up falling here. As the Ranger, the Little Fern alongside the Archos is going to be able to take this down.
Fury tried its best. 11,000 damage compared to the 5,000 from the Fern. But yeah, the sustain just outperformed here the full damage composition of the other team. As I'm a Fishy stays on a win streak. Squawk in the last place, almost able to take him down. Let's go also to the bottom here. Fox Spirit. And yeah, I think both of them, right? Fox Spirit and Dr. Spoon are currently in the bottom. So I want to see Fox Spirit perform here. I want him to get out of this bottom spot. I know he can do it. Let's see how he does it. And it's gonna be against the Rogues from Sota, which is so hard to do because that Gorilla here is a one-shot. Never mind. And we have an Exalted Atipo here, which is holding the line. Level 40, no stats at all. Still pretty strong. But yeah, Sota is gonna slay Fox Spirit's units here. Down to 69 HP.
Yeah, I want to see Fox get a bit of a comeback here, because between this and then the Illuvium Pro League, the IPL 1000 that we just had on the weekend, Fox has easily been the most consistent player in both leagues. The problem is he was the most consistent at hitting 5th and 6th, and that is not necessarily the kind of consistency that you really want in tournament play, especially compared to last week, where I believe they were 2nd or something like that. Yep. So they have to be kicking themselves a little bit. But now both these players here at 69, that is an extremely fast squiz showing up here for Squawk, which does allow for the bonding here to actually become shock. So that poor little Ranger, the poor little Fleesh on the other side, they're about to feel like.
Yes, and interestingly enough, we see a double Gorilla here coming out from Fox. I don't know if he's gonna go into like Invoker mud with this Ranger, or just contesting weapons here, but it is looking very good here, doing so much damage. Wow. The Predator, triple Predator here on board, super strong.
Can we take another look at that Atipo? It's hollow, or Hollow's calling it out in chat. Is it hollow with 0 stats?
Yeah, well, not 0-0, but very low. Who has it? Exalted? Is it?
Yeah. Oh, almost 0, but my goodness.
It was really just captured for the looks, not the stats. It is also at level 40, which is minimum level for stage 3.
Oh well, it is beautiful and I shall cherish it forever.
Yeah, I love that. Still found its way in here. So yeah, little explanation, level 20. So Illuvial starts out at level 1, but to evolve it, it becomes level 20. You have to evolve it. It has the level 1 units that you used to evolve has to be level 20. So a stage 2 is always minimum level 20 and a stage 3 is always minimum level 40. So this is minimum level here for a stage 3 unit.
Yeah. Okay. But it's okay. It gets the bonus points for being hollow.
Yep. Okay, it's gonna be rough against I'm a Fishy here, who found already 2 of those lynxes. Once this evolves into a nature stage 3, that's gonna be really tough, and maybe gonna take him into late game.
It would absolutely blend in on a bunker-esque kind of style composition and just be able to hold the line for so long. But now we're up here with Squawk and Not Complain, both on the bottom half of the board. A gyro has just been found here for Squawk, so an untraditional maybe mini carry here. Look at the damage that came on through. The gyro hit alongside the enchanter proc. Actually just did so much damage, and these tiny little heals might be just enough to keep it going. The Lynx, the Kookaloo, and the Ace gonna help finish the job. Ranger hanging in there as well. All set up for Inferno, but didn't even need it. So far, so good here for Squawk.
That's a cool team. I hope Squawk goes a little while with that, and we can see it evolve. Already the gyro, the Kookaloos. What is it gonna be with the Ranger? Right now, it's going towards Inferno, Enchanter. Yep, needs a little more Ace. There is a Kukurov in the making. Just needs 2 more Kukas. Looking pretty good. Exalted Fleesh has been benched for him. Maybe comes back later on. You never know.
You never know, but taking a look at the rest of these, Box still having a rather rough time, looking like both them and Squawk down at 60. But I'm officially so far on a tear alongside Slick to kind of lead the lobby. Our fight currently, though, we've got Dr. Spoon up against Squawk. We've seen the gyro and the Lynx do a fantastic job in this first fight. But how about this time here versus this Archos? You got the Cardullo and the Heady as well. But in terms of a carry, there really is not much one here for Spoon. The closest thing that's there is immediately getting jumped on. The Riptor is going to be taken down. The Forest is going to get taken extremely low. And the gyro is going to get out of dodge to try and take care of some of these tankier units. One more time with the Ace, or not the, yeah, the Ace, not the Ace. But it is going to fly right across. But even with these fully evolved gyro, it looks like it's still going to be a tough time here for the green side. Dr. Spoon has just been able to hang on. He's still got the 2 more bulwarks and the fully healed Archos as well. This isn't going to be a fast fight, but it's still going to be a convincing one. Dr. Spoon going to take that.
Yes, and I want to point out some mistakes that Squawk did there. For instance, his gyro is by far the best damage dealer, but the Kookaloo has the Omega power augment. So that didn't make too much sense, I believe. Gyro should have that yellow augment. And then also the Ranger was sitting in the backline, and the Ranger at this point is just an enchanter, and it's just like, just sits there with a lot of HP doing nothing. It should be utilized a little bit more as a tank and should be moved forward as well to not be the last unit left alive. So maybe that could have made a little bit of a difference. I just want you to succeed, Squawk, but yeah, let's swap down to Fox Spirit, or maybe we check out the top again before they get too low, because I would like to see how Slicks is doing it. I guess the Artis is just a huge power spike, right?
Oh, 100%. But to go on what you were saying, I think that's a common misconception if you played like other games coming into here, where you see a healer or a support or something and you just never want it to get touched. You never want it to get hit at all. But actually, if they do have an okay health pool, you do want one or maybe two Illuvials to actually attack it, because it charges their Omega that much faster, and especially if you have a Chanter, that's giving you heals and damage. But we do have another fight on hand here. The Hype player is going to battle it out here. Slicks and Patat's going at it. Patat not looking so hot as of right now. There are a bunch of Fire Illuvials diving on top of it. The poor little Revo's not going to be long for this world. It's all down to the Polar Bear. Not going to happen, because it's dealing with the bear itself, the Arctase, and the Rampy still hangs on.
Yes, sir. Slicks hangs on to his win streak as well, which is going to be tough to take down in the mid game with Inferno active. That's just so strong. And now we have Slicks versus Not Complain, and Not Complain is going to invest a lot of points, I think, to stop his lose streak and not eat so much damage against Slicks.
Looking and investing towards that Rake, which, I mean, their stonks has basically been shooting up this entire week, whether it was IPL or here in Leviathan. A bunch of Omnivamp attached to that. I believe that's the Omega power over time. So in theory, if it doesn't get focused, it's okay. And thankfully it does have, of course, that Smokescreen Omega. But the Alfie's here for backup. Let's see if they can get a good shot fired into this mini bunker.
Yes, Monarch gets a perfect carpet bomb here across all these units, and they are hurting, they are burning. And before it has even started, it's already over, it seems, for Not Complain here. Down to 29 HP.
And that Rake, unfortunately, just couldn't get the job done at all. And even with some Omnivamp, it did not find much healing in the slightest. Absolutely just getting cooked here in the Inferno. And unfortunately here for Not Complain, I think maybe 1-2 more shots left, and then they could be seeing an early exit, which would throw an absolute wrench into the standings, since they're second currently overall in this tournament.
Yep, our lobby leader is doing okay in the middle, but definitely a huge jump from second to third. 90 HP down to 57. Yeah, I'm a Fishy and Slicks doing great on top here. I still believe Not Complain will be able to maybe dig his way out of here. Problem really is, look at the two bottom players. They playing off meta and contesting each other. If you play off meta, you need to be uncontested, otherwise this happens.
And then with like Harbinger's team, for example, we do see it on occasion. So Fox Spirit's kind of going like the more traditional route. But even though Not Complain is playing something I would argue is off meta by having that title Shiv, unfortunately they're still kind of building the same thing, and they're just running into each other. Both of those Rakes are hardly going to find any sort of evolutions, if I'm going to guess. Granted, at least Fox Spirit, they do have Sinolf on board, so they have at least a secondary carry ready to go. But their main carry, that Rake, is going to be in for a world of hurt. And then same thing here with Not Complain, who's in, I'd argue, an even worse position, because there's, other than the Rake, they have an Alfie, which, let's be honest, that tickles. I like the switch here from Not Complain. They did pick up the Bork instead to try and just hold the line a little bit more.
Yeah, trying to transition out of this losing position. I like the creativity. We're gonna see if it works out, but first we're gonna see how Fox Spirit does it with his 8 water units against the 6 fire. Hyper should be in favor of Fox Spirit. We see the Rake is hyperactive and it looks deadly right now. Just one more cast to finish off everything, and Fox Spirit is gonna take down Slicks' win streak in dominating fashion.
Yep, so even though it's not fully evolved, still able to cook on the other side here, Not Complain. Oh man, that was so close. But that is just a heartbreaker here for Not Complain. Petite absolutely going to be loving that one. Polar Bear coming in clutch. But with Not Complain down to 18, a bad loss could knock them out at this point. If it's a close battle, you probably got one more left in the tank. This isn't a Crimson Waste or something like that, thankfully. But this is definitely looking rough. And when you're pursuing the top of this championship, an 8th right now could be heartbreaking.
Yep, I don't like seeing this. Not Complain, you getting bashed and beaten here at the bottom. And I'm not sure how Ember Buckler is getting him out of this. I mean, it activates Steam, which is good for him, but yeah, it might not be enough.
He at least got Vanguard.
Vanguard and Steam activated, so that's pretty good, I guess. Let's see how it turns out for him. Big cinch cast here into the main carries. The Ranger is also onto the main carries. Ranger now will be main tanking them. Jumps away. The Stabbin doing great here in the backline. Super attack speeds, but it's all down to the Rake. To the double Rakes. diving in and out of the shadow. And in the end, Not Complain is gonna hold on to his life. Dr. Spoon takes the hit.
Yeah, just hanging in there. Heck, even the little Alfie hanging on at the very, very end here. But the double doggies are able to help pursue that one. I was kind of worried there for the stab in. It was stuck on that Archos basically the entire fight. And it wasn't getting a lick of things done. Even though it had the Vanguard, it was chopping through. But of course, Archos was just healing it right back up. So I was worried about that. But nope, double rake, and especially now double augmented rakes are going to be able to hopefully give them that little bit of a boost. But this is problematic here. We have Not Complain going up against Sota. So this is 1 and 2 in the tournament currently. And I would argue Sota's team looks so much deadlier, especially now that Malura just got evolved right in the nick of time here. So it's going to be a beefy old tank jumping directly at you.
Yep, all the credits now are on the boards. Players don't want to be losing anymore. If you're down here, you're holding on to your last few life points. Sinalf able to stay alive until the second wind, giving it another opportunity at a laser in the middle here. The Rake trying its best, but the ram fight is gonna seal its deal and gonna seal Not Complain's fate here, down to 3 HP. Now definitely on his last life.
At least they do get one more shot at this, but that's still very, very rough spot to be. Gotta do perfect Illuvium from here on forth, which is a very extremely tough task.
Ooh.
And now you're up against Squawk, and okay, they did find the Kukaraf.
Alright, I'm rooting for Squawk here because I want to see how far he can take this traditional air team with the Kukaraf, the Gyro. It looks interesting, but both of them struggling, as we can see. Let's see how it turns out.
Yeah, Squawk just 1 air away from finding 6 air, but at least they do have Tempest, so that Kukaraf and that Mammoth is going to be very obnoxious to try and deal with, even more so than normal. You're not just getting flung around, but you're hardly going to be able to touch this thing, and it's going to slap you back at the same time, just as that Kukaraf did. A big save coming out here from the Ranger to try and heal off that Caradulo, but it's all going to be for naught. They are going to end up falling. Big stun onto one of the rakes. How about the other one? It is going to end up going down extremely convincingly, and we will lose Not Complain. Second in this tournament is falling in last.
That is rough for him. That's gonna reshuffle the cards, reshuffle the deck. Now the only one to take out is Sota, guys. If he again gets into the top 3, top 2, he's looking really, really dominant so far in this tournament.
I wouldn't say that he's in a comfortable spot by any means, though. Only 30 HP. As we get into the later stages of the game, could in theory be like maybe two losses still. So
yep.
Pretty much still on par with a lot of the players below them. But we do have a lot of players, of course, all within kill shot now. We have Dr. Spoon, a Fox Spirit, even Squawk, of course. If they get a rough loss, they could get knocked out. And with each player falling, it's just Soda's laughing to the bank, basically, if they can just hang on for at least another round or 2.
I know we should watch the bottom players, but at least for this PvE round, I want to see what Amafishy has been cooking up. 90 HP.
Oh, hello, beautiful.
Big win streak. Must have found these links a while ago, which fits so well into his composition, which is 8 Nature. And 8 Nature enables the extra effect of dealing 2% of their missing health as energy damage to your closest enemy, which is huge for this links right here.
You never see full Nature. Like, at all. Especially in this meta where we're so used to seeing fire all over the place. People would say that you're trolling if you try to go for this normally. But again, just uncontested. The Lynx fits into this composition beautifully. Yes, you have a bit of an untraditional carry because it's kind of relying on the Fur Knight. And while it does do a lot of damage, it's not like you're the biggest of hyper carries. But if you can just out-sustain, and the Fur Knight just tickles you slowly but surely over the length of the match, you might not be in too bad of a spot.
Yep, it's not looking too bad. Also, his late game build will look really good. Once this is a Blaze Knight, he got Wildfire active, which is gonna give more sustain, more damage. And yeah, we're gonna see here how it goes versus the Rogues. Will they deal enough damage to get through, but I feel the Stoic Lynx is just unkillable. Look at that health, 5,000, and the more you lose, the more AoE damage you do. This means every tank is automatic a damage dealer, which is always a really nice thing to have. And yeah, as we see, nothing even tickles them. They're happy to be damaged. Just means more cast, more damage for themselves. Doing so much damage to Sota from 30 down to 9. Patat also at 7. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was absolutely devastating. They're going to be sent down. But at least if there's some sort of solace here for Sota, Dr. Spoon did get eliminated in that one. They will fall in 7th. So that's 1 more points guaranteed for Sota, even if they have a little bit of a rough time. They don't have to worry about not complain. I'd argue right now they're probably more worried about Fishy. Fishy, I think, was either in... I think they were in that 3-way tie for 3rd. And if they continue like this right here, right now, they will be essentially unstoppable. And they're asking... or Paul's asking in the chat here, what are the augments that they're using on this Elderwood staff? Because normally I don't see it pop off like this.
Yeah, we can watch this because definitely Squawk is in kill range versus I'm a Fishy, and he might be taken out here. Let's see the enchantments. Well, let's first watch the fight here, which you don't need to watch much because the Flora Link stands in the front, isn't touched. The Grunk is locked in here in the back. Doesn't even matter, he's chilling, he doesn't mind, the other boys got it. Now he finally gets free, the Lynx is already dead, and it seems like Squawk might be able to out-sustain the 8 nature here. Everybody is hyperactive on the nature side this time. But yeah, where's the damage at this point? The tanks are dead. It's gonna be a close one. The Kukurov is holding on, casts 1 more time, it's gonna be taken out now. Those Empaths do pack a punch if needed. And in the end, Squawk will fall, and it's gonna be exactly 18 damage. Down in 4th, Sota in 5th, Patat in 6th.
Alright, so Sota being able to just claw their way up to a 5th is actually not a bad case scenario there for them. Being able to bring, I believe it's 4 more points into this one, or maybe, yeah, 4 points into the standings. Sure, not the best case scenario, but still way better than 7th. And now we can actually take a look here at what this Elderwood staff is cooking. So we've got Omega attack speed increase by 10%, and then shield also receiving damage amp, so kind of making up for the fact there's not very many damage dealers on the team.
Yep, giving extra damage amp in this team is huge. Anti-attack speed as well. This time the Crunk will find a job, but the Monarch just flies over it, lays down the fire. Ramfight goes up into the air, deals a lot of damage. Frontline is pretty much dead. Enemy team is pretty much dead all around, but everybody holds on to a sliver of health. Monarch flies 1 more time, dealing so much damage. And the Furiox in the backline is hacking away, hyperactive, a lot of attack speed, 18,000 damage. We'll seal the deal here against I'm a Fishy, finally been taken down from his win streak.
Fox still fighting up against the Ghost, though. Very well could get eliminated if something doesn't go their way. They did find the Umber, and thankfully for them, that Umber is going to be the last one standing. So, able to clutch that one out, but a good win for Slicks. This is kind of what I was talking about. Once you find that good fire composition, it's basically impossible to go for 8 nature. I could kind of hear Slicks in my head just saying, this guy's trolling right now, just by going for this nature composition, but it's doing very, very well. But it is not impenetrable. These next 2 teams look brutal.
He has somehow figured something out that nobody else has figured out, because it has been working. Kudos to him. But now we're gonna see Fox Spirit here versus I'm a Fishy, and Fox Spirit is gonna try his best to stay in this 4th game in the finals.
Poor Umber is going to be stuck up against that Stoic Flora Lynx, and at least the Flora Lynx is away from the Archos, so it's not going to get that heal. But you can see the rest of the front line is just tearing on through. We do see the Umber, and it's extremely low. It doesn't necessarily have the sustain to really get themselves back in here unless it finds eliminations, but they're just constantly healing, and they can't find the elimination. So that is going to be Fox Spirit falling out of here, but a good finish here in game number 4 by getting 3rd.
Yep, slowly but surely has been recovering his position game after game, a little bit better. Slicks right here, 2nd place minimum. He must be happy about that. And it's fire versus nature. I think anyone would accept fire to beat nature here. But also, if we look at the hyper suppression stage 1, so for the first 10 seconds, fire doesn't even get hyper, which is a good pickup here from Amafishi. But after those 10 seconds, they're going to be hyperactive straight away.
I can't remember if it was in the last round as well, but I think one of the latest additions here to Slick's team, not even a fire Illuvial, but actually this Mammoth. I love this pickup because, sure, it's actually going to be hyper going up against you, if I recall correctly. But because they're all bunched up like this Mammoth, when it yeets something, it's going to stun 4 or 5 Illuvials, if not more. And being able to stop the heals and stop some of these shields from coming out for at least a little bit, it could be the difference maker to maybe letting that Furiox or letting that ramp fight just go on an absolute tear.
Just looking at the levels here, and definitely Slicks has a way better team. Amafishi has a good team, but there's a lot of 40s, some 50s, a few 60s. But if we look at Slicks, everything is level 60 or above 50 for sure. Almost everything 60 in perfect stats. So yeah, I really hope for... I'm rooting for Amafishi here, the underdog. With the less strong team, with the off-matter team, 8 nature here. Can they take down the fires?
It's still definitely a tough task. Right now, only the Ryan Luz is going to be the only thing falling. Meanwhile, Rampite and the rest of the squad, they just absolutely tore through majority of that front line. The Blotto is still there, but it's not going to be long for this world either. And the Monarch is literally right on top of your healer. There is nothing you can do in this instance. Absolute power moves coming out here from Slicks.
Yeah, we look at those units that have done the most damage. We see the Furiox, level 60, perfect. 6 out of 6, perfect stats. And the Monarch, level 60, perfect. 6 out of 6 stats. That is gonna definitely make a difference and give you many, many thousands damage more.
I mean, I expect nothing less. Slicks, of course, a player that goes always for the best possible odds, and the one way to reduce odds going up against you is to make sure that your Illuvials are absolutely the best of the best, and I see him settling for absolutely nothing less, as we see a Seer now, as if this wasn't already a beefy front line here for Slicks. It
only
just
needs
made
one more
it so
mule.
much tougher.
Also, he's just
that'd be the Behemoth.
Yep, one more mule will definitely seal the deal here. It already looks unwinnable with this Furiox just being unthreatened in the backline. The Ranger positioned to be the furthest unit to eat all those Fernite lasers, the Fernite whirlwinds, and the Furiox has just time.
Hang on. The Jotun is here, but at the same time, so is the Adorius. The big deer we see in the blue is here. It doesn't necessarily have the best stats, but at least it has that Omega power, so it will be able to pop off with some huge heals. Is it going to be enough to save the Stoic floor links, though? So far, so good. Big stun coming out from the lanes, and that actually might have been a difference maker. Monarch is there, firing on that front line, but they will actually drop. And now the Furiox actually has to be contested. There's nowhere it can go. What a change here in this battle. Amafishi fighting back by finding that fully evolved Adorius.
Yes, Adorius, and also a Blotto on the board. So Amafishi still had some money left in the bank and able to bring a few more win conditions, a few more power spikes, and there's more waiting on the bench.
They're so close to finding not just the Gnarl, but a Blazonite as well. And considering that is meant to be the main damage of this team, if they find Blazonite, can trigger that wildfire, it would be probably curtains, even if you have hyper against you.
Yes, okay, so maybe the last time here, 8 nature versus 6 fire. I've never seen this before, but we're gonna see it right here, right now. The Adorius trying to keep everyone alive. The main tank here in the front line, getting out a stun, holding on to their life, but falls in the end to the Behemoths. Rampfight Omega comes out. Here comes one more Arcos Root. Is it gonna be enough? The Blotto in the front line still holding strong. The Adorius still healing away. And the Fernite and the Ranger doing the best to be the damage dealer that this nature team needs. Is it gonna be enough? Monarch flies in one more time. Furiox dies to the whirlwind, and it's gonna be enough, but Slicks lives. 5 HP left for him.
Okay, if that one didn't go in Slicks' favor, I don't know what's going to, because Adorius, I think, got smoked by the Ranger stun from the Boomerang, and it stopped actually from saving the Stoic floor links, but it still was able to keep the rest of the tanks alive. Gnarl being added to this composition as well. Now that that's fully evolved, that's another big body that you have to kind of burn through. And I don't know how they're going to break this.
Yeah, we'll see. I think the Monarch is such a strong unit here, but the problem is it can never fly into the backline. It's really countered by this corner composition. Let's see if they can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Monarch in the Rampite going to dive on through. Rampite's not necessarily in the greatest of spots. It's stuck onto this Caradulo. It needs to die before popping the Omega. The taunt is actually going to benefit it. No, it's going to just fire it off anyway. And it is going to be able to take care of 2. But can the rest of these fire units from Slicks actually burn on through? Monarch did find a little bit of an entryway, though. It is now on top of the healers. The Clumsy, though, it gets shunted away by the Mammoth thing. Ooh. And it is going to end up going and get sent away. And there's just too much healing. We do see the Behemoths. That Seer is right there. It's spinning on top of the field, just essentially doing a breakdance, and it's not going to be able to be enough. We're going to see for the first time, I feel like ever, 8 Nature's going to win a game, and Item of Fishy takes game number 4.
Wow, that was as close as it gets. The Ardorius gets a last-second heal out, being so low. Oh my god. Click the replay button, play the replay. Let's see this again.
Just Rampite not getting into the right position was definitely awkward here, because even the Railu, I think it actually did... Oh no, it didn't end up moving, but just enough space for the Caradulo to get the focus. That first Carpet Bomb from the Monarch was really good too, but just this Omega was basically nothing. Nothing that their Archos couldn't handle.
Yeah, and the Monarch has really good Omegas as well, but it was not enough. Let's see at the very end now. Watch this heal, I think, that comes out now. No, the next one. Crazy that it gets one more. The Furiox tries its best right here. Boom. That was so close.
Very, very close. But just, it all changed once Ardorius was onto the field there. That tier 5 empath, that Mystic, the support. Just the massive heals coming out here from the Deer was able to keep things alive way longer than it should have. Granted, Slicks was starting to chip away at that, though. The Stoic Floorlings looked essentially indestructible for a good while in this game, but Slicks was able to crack it, and the front line would be cracked, to the point where the back line was completely exposed at the end of all of those final fights, but there just was not enough firepower left. The Furiox was exposed, and it did end up getting chipped away and taken down. So close, but a big win here for Fishy.
That was insane. Big shout out to Fishy, because he won with an off-meta team against probably its main counter with way worse, or not way worse, but a little bit worse Illuvials. So he just, you know, that was skill. The skill difference that he was able to squeeze out every little bit of efficiency or whatever it was out of this match. Good on him. GG's.
I'm sure they're definitely flustered that they didn't necessarily score the win there for Slicks in this instance, but still a second place is a fantastic push towards the top of the leaderboard. I'm sure we'll have some scores kind of get updated on very, very shortly as well, because it's especially going to be sent for a loop. Because Soda did okay, not complain, unfortunately got destroyed in that game, to be just completely frank with you, dropping an 8th, but it's going to allow for a lot of these other players to really start catching up.
Yes, sir. Yeah, scores are being updated as we speak. We're gonna have them in a minute. I think players are gonna also take a break. We're just gonna go on a 1-2 minute break. And actually the scores are in. Let's talk about those first. I don't wanna keep you waiting too long. There it is. Just gonna sort them out. And wow, we are up for a interesting match number 5 here.
Shout outs to everybody in the chat here. I see the Let's Go Fishy chants coming on through, and it's not just one person spamming it. No, I see like 7 of y'all in there. All the support here for Fishy, and I mean,
let's go.
Very exactly right at the perfect time, because heck, they are absolutely within striking distance here. Sota's still leading, but only by 2 points over a bunch of other hype members, of course, with I'm Fishy being second. Slicks, big jump after that as well, up to 3rd. Not Complain falls down to 4th. Squawk still holding strong in 5th. Then we have Patat and Fox Spirit tied for 6th, and Dr. Spoon rounding up the lobby. But yep, Fishy fans, your player's in the hunt.
Yes, sir. Man, it's if I look at Not Complain stats, he's either last or first. There is nothing in between. He's like
seriously,
he's like a Sith. He only knows extremes at this point, and it's nice to see. I hope for him he's gonna turn it around next turn at time again. But yeah, basically what we're looking at is Sota here with 1 win and I'm a Fishy with 1 win. That means if Fishy wins the next round and Sota is third, Fishy wins the tournament, for example, because he would win the tiebreaker with 2 wins. But if Sota at least gets second, he wins the tournament. And yeah, if Sota crashes and burns and I'm a Fishy crashes and burns, that opens it up for everybody else here for Slicks and Not Complain. Mainly those two have a realistic chance at first place still.
But I'm actually kind of worried for Fishy or not for Fishy right now, but for Sota in this instance. They started off with a bang, but as of right now, it's kind of the current standings. It's just a line straight down. It's kind of looking like my stock portfolio right now because it's just absolutely brutal. Just dropping slowly but surely. Meanwhile, Fishy on the come up. Slicks started off strong, a little bit of a lull, on its way back up. And then Not Complain, yeah, you're spiking one way or another, and it's unpredictable. What kind of game can we get from them? And of course, I mean, you never know. Squawk in a interesting scenario could shoot up the board here as well. So it's rounding up here for an exciting game number 5.
Yes, sir. Sorry I baited you with a break, but we're jumping right back into the action here with game number 5. And we are this time very early, so still a PvE round. We are in Halcyon Sea, which means gain 3 credits. By the way, this is going to be moved forward before the players because we cannot really read that. That's going to be fixed in the next patch. Gain 3 credits per round. Everybody's going to be rich. Economy is going to be hypercharged. A little preparation for the patch coming up, which everybody's excited for. And we're going to have ourselves a nice final game here in the best of 5 finals.
Yeah, this is basically going to benefit everybody in this instance here. You want to play safe and just rack up economy, get up to max interest extremely quickly? By all means, you do that faster. You don't want to be punished as badly for rolling for a risky composition? Don't get punished as badly. It's just such a fun region to get to play with here, and I'm so curious when it comes to weapons, what we're going to end up seeing here in just a moment's time. Of course, we're extremely early. We'll get to see them pick it live.
Yes, sir. Gonna be a good one. Patat starts out strong. 2 wins in a row. So has done Dr. Spoon. Also, I'm a Fishy and Sota. Top 4 on a win streak. Let's see who loses it here. I'm a Fishy or Sota.
When in doubt, go back to your tried and true. Sota did not waste any time. We're going back to Rogues.
Ooh. Well, that is nice to see. We have double Aqua Blaster here for the top 2 players. Spoon and Patat. That is weird, because it's not really a strong weapon at the moment. It's not too bad either. Ripple Flail for Ama Fishy. Double Boomerang for Slicks and Not Complain. Silver Blade for Squawk. And the Shadow Maul for the first time here in the semi-end grand finals for Fox Spirit.
Yeah, Fox might have to kind of return to form for what we saw, and I believe it was the last game of the semifinals yesterday where they did pull off an Mystic composition. And I mean, Granite Mystic was the old way to go, and with that Mauler, that is definitely the old school way to do it. I'm interested to also see if Squawk can pull off this mud. Finding that water fighter weapon is definitely going to help them. Slicks and Not Complain, I mean, they're going for the tried and true of this patch. They know that this works, but how much will they be stepping on each other's toes? And then there's Fishy. I think they're the only one thinking about Aegis.
Yep, Aegis is so good in some situations. We got Not Complain here versus I'm a Fishy. Can first take down last. I always love an underdog story, but it doesn't look like it here today. I'm a Fishy seems to be staying on his win streak, but nothing is over yet as the Lynx gets into the backline onto the Fleesh. That's gonna spell doom here for the red side.
And of course, that Ripple Flail. Again, I mentioned it before in other casts, but it may be a bulwark weapon. Do not let it fool you. That thing is basically a DPS weapon, let's be honest. But especially in this early game anyway, your Ranger could kind of take the reins as your carry of sorts. And we'll have to see how it works out this time. We have both of our players currently at the top of this game going up against each other. Dr. Spoon having a little bit of fun so far here with this Aqua Blaster. But They actually have it as a phantom style, so we're going to see the Ranger take a jump unless... Oh, actually, never mind. It looks like they just unbound it.
Yep, a little bit of a bait there from the Ranger bonding. Double stun coming out from the Grokkos. The Lynx just seems to be the difference maker here, doing so much damage. And the enemy Lynx as well trying its best, but not gonna be good enough. Dr. Spoon holds on to the win streak. Fishy goes down.
Good on Spoon, and of course, if for those that may not necessarily be fighting for the overall win, of course, you still want to fight for every position you can. Those prizes go up every single position, from $100 for 8th to all the way up to, I think they basically gets doubled on for 7th, and so on and so forth. So everyone fighting for every little bit that they can. NPC rounds are going to let everybody get a nice little influx on some credits as we get into our first draft deck round. Nothing too crazy, thankfully, for the players. I don't see any fully loaded augments, just components as of right now. So where are these players going to end up looking for? Spoon, of course, going to be the last one to actually get the pick. Not Complain does find the heady at least. So I'm going to be able to snag that. Nice little tier 3 to kind of get themselves boosted up for just a moment's time. What about Fishy? What are you looking for? Just going to go for the components, snag the health one. Fair enough. And then Spoon, last but not least, I mean, pick up the Rye. It is your Illuvitar after all. Going to end up picking that one up. We're going to then see Spoon versus Slicks. Of course, Slicks needing an absolute fantastic final game here to get themselves any chance at taking this win. The second and the last game was definitely a nice boost, but not quite enough to get there just yet. Going up against Dr. Spoon, who we saw this Lynx do some pretty solid work off the rip initially, but we are going to have Berserker coming out extremely quickly. Or is that still just a Lesser Monk here? I think it's just a Lesser Monk here, so it's not going to be Berserker just yet from Slicks, but they definitely flooded the board, getting level 6 ahead of Dr. Spoon in this instance to maybe shut down that win streak. The Lynx on the side of Dr. Spoon is going to immediately get popped off, and it's just going to be the Swarm from here. Absolutely nothing you can do here for Dr. Spoon. Just too many units, too many fighters, and that's going to be a big hit. 10 points down here for Dr. Spoon. And then Patat is also taking a big hit here. Sota, again, just leading this tournament, leading this game in a fantastic position, going for, again, their tried and true. They love their rogues. They've been playing rogues for as long as we can remember. That's what they have perfect. We've seen the stats of some of their Illuvials earlier. Completely perfect. Level 60, fully trained. You can definitely tell that that is the team that they initially started off with, and they play it so well. They're going to be very, very devastating to have to go up against the longer this goes on. Now we have Patent Type and I'm a Fishy about to be going at it. Of course, I'm a Fishy. They do have essentially free reign to go for Aegis as they please. Toxic Aegis, of course, one of the more popular compositions here in IPL play. It's the same thing here in Leviathan. We'll see, they don't necessarily have Riptor just yet, though, so they're going to have to essentially boost something else as of this moment, which it looks like it's actually the Lynx to be able to take the role of that this time, the Relentless Lynx. So it is evolved up to its middle stage, and it's going to be able to act like the carry so far in this one.
Doing so much damage.
Over 6,000, yeah.
Yep. It's always lovely to see those. I've really focused well on the stage 2 Lynxes because it's such a good power spike in the early and mid game once you find them. And yeah, Sota, like you said, playing in his comfort zone on the rogues, uncontested yet again, which this looks really tough for the rest of the lobby to stop Sota from winning the tournament today.
Definitely going to be a tough task, but we've even seen in Illuvium Pro League matches that rogues, they have a hard time sometimes if other teams manage to find exactly what they need. They capitalize when things are contested, but if it's just a heads-up battle, it can be either way. So definitely not going to call Sota 100% by any means in the perfect driver's seat, but they're at least well prepared, to say the least.
Yep, and what I want to see from the other players is what Squawk is doing right here. He's playing mud, most likely, but hey, he
Yep.
found penguins and he picks those penguins up. Because this is the main win condition for Sota. And yeah, I mean, you can also just play your best game and try to get your best positioning out and not really snipe the top player. But for many players that could still win the tournament, this is a valid strategy.
Well, that's actually so menacing, too, because we have two players. We have Dr. Spoon and Patat. They're 100% going to be going for ranks. Or dashes and numbers in this instance. So that's one rogue carry that is gone. Patat's actually going to make a little bit of a switch here in terms of their item. So maybe not so much anymore. But you do have Dr. Spoon that'll be likely at least challenging for those dashes early. So that's one rogue carry gone. If Squawk is also going to be picking up these penguins and stopping the other rogue carry, you might have everything else, but you might not have the firepower to breach through some of these other teams, maybe like Fishies, for example, where you have that Aegis up, whatever super carry you happen to be going for at the time. So it could be very, very scary. And I mean, even now, Fishy might be getting contested ever so slightly, but Tat's starting to pick up some grass units.
Yeah, as we watch the Squawk right here, he found the Karu Dulux, which is the least important unit in your mud team, so he's still far, far away from anything else. There's a great monk here, but all the monkeys are still missing. Looking at the credits for Squawk. By the way, I bet on Squawk to win this tournament. Didn't turn out so well for him. A little bit of an underdog in the end. So was Dr. Spoon, so we're not in the profit position today. But yeah, Squawk has 78 credits, and he... Oh wait, that's HP. 66 credits. He's gonna roll hard now after the PvE round. So will everybody. And we're gonna see all those completed, half-completed teams very soon.
Yeah, everybody's going to be going nuts in just a moment's time. But at least to give Squawk the shout out here, they've been essentially right in the middle this entire time, just kind of bouncing between 4th and 5th, still having a fantastic showing here. And can maybe even find themselves on the podium if they get themselves a W here in this last one. But they do have a little bit of a, what looks like a indecisive spot. They found Riptorus of all things. They found Riptorus before a greater Apon, which is kind of oddly enough. Unless it's on the bench. Oh no, it's on the bench actually. But stuck at level 5 trying to wait for some of these mud units. And then, that's great, you got a fully evolved unit. It's not your carry, it's your tank. You'll happily take it, but you're wishing you had something else.
Yep. It will be doing the job for now, and as we see here, I would try to get a nature unit online, because then you could go for triple toxic, which is currently your best trait here with the Riptorus and the Caradulux online, and it's a very strong trait as well in Leviathan. So might as well go for triple toxic until you find all the monkeys. But as I'm speaking, the rolling goes on. We only need one more Apon to clear up all the space here, which is the most crucial part of rolling down. Finding your first one to get space back on the bench so you don't have to sell units, like for example this Chukor that is second in line of importance for the mud unit.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because that'd be the perfect additional support there for the gorilla in this instance here. Squawk is going to just get absolutely mauled though in the meantime, and this is the problem. The first set of rolling, or after that NPC round, did not go perfectly. Sure, you have a lot of everything, but you don't have anything finished. Finally, they do. That exalted Apon got snagged in that last possible moment there. So now with the benches cleared up, they could hopefully not relax, but they can shop freely.
Yeah, and as I said, he had to sell this Chukroll for it, which is a big loss, because
that hurts.
That Predator would have been nice to stabilize once you level up. When you hit the other units, he's still level 5. That would have been a good level 6 unit. But he must be happy to have found this. Did he also found the Gorilla? Yes, also the Gorilla is exalted.
Alright.
So very close. Here comes another Juko trying to start again from scratch. Only needs 2 more Monkeers, and I'm sure he's gonna keep rolling for them. Because you don't want to... Well, he has still 60 HP, right? He could still easily take 1 loss and not screw up his economy too much. Because in Squawk, like you said earlier, he's in the middle. If he wants to really get up there on the podium, he needs a win. And what better team to take a win than with Muds? But you shouldn't roll all your gold away. You still need gold to find your secondary win conditions, like ripe lands and stuff like that later on.
Definitely a bit of an all-in kind of moment here. And to be fair, there wasn't that many Greater Monkeers, I think, on the board unless they're sitting on people's benches. but they at least got a little bit of a power spike. Is that going to be enough to kind of tear through Fox Spirit, who is just going for, I think, essentially pure Earth, 7 Earth with the 2 granites on board as well. There is going to be plenty of firepower to burst through this, though. Might be a tanky squad, but there's just so much damage. Even Riptor is getting involved just to help take care of the Adorito, which is a rather early find, but it is still going to end up going down. Tianti, last one standing, not anymore. That is going to be a big shot towards Fox Spirit.
Yep, I think you can definitely see, for example, where Fox Spirit maybe didn't skirmish so much, and the Hype Boys probably got 8 players together and practice a lot of Leviathan games, where you can try stuff out. And for example, the 7 Earth, I don't know if it works, and it feels like Fox Spirit has been very flexible, very creative. That might not be the time to get creative in the grand finals, right? You might want to have your strategies locked in, and that could be maybe a little bit less practice here coming in for some players.
It's very possible. The one thing I'll give Fox credit on, though, is this build that they are playing here. This is basically the one time that we did see like Earth Granite Mystics like outperform and just become absolutely unkillable. And I think they won an IPL event. That next week, they basically got nerfed. But this is still basically the exact same team. The problem right now is there's just not much stuff evolved. So it's not going to necessarily be hitting anywhere near as hard. And some of their units, of course, being kind of contested with by Squawk just does not make that much more fun either.
Yes. We're absolutely right. Trying to reminisce here on the old overpowered team. Maybe it can come back. We just saw 8 nature win. So we can see anything happen at this point. Squawk still haven't found his 4 mud. And it shows right here. He was relaxing a little bit too much. Takes a big hit down to 46, which I think now he's going to start rolling aggressively very soon.
One thing that I just saw, and Fishy fans, I think you might be in a fantastic position. If we take a look at I'm a Fishy, they probably don't even need to go for Riptorus anymore, but they have it anyway. But that is a fully evolved, relentless Flora Lynx that you could very well Aegis up if you really wanted to, and it'll perform very, very similarly, I feel like, to the Riptorus. Of course, it's not going to be toxic, but it is still going to hit like a truck. It does have Riptorus here as well, so if they do want to go for Aegis, they have their choice of the litter, essentially, as to what they want to supercharge.
Yep, Aegis seems to be lost a little bit, going on to some tanks and randomly splattered around. He was more focusing on the essential positioning. Flora Lynx here into the main carries. Is it going to be enough to out-sustain? It doesn't seem like it, but it sure did buy a lot of time and took down one of them, but now the damage is gone here for the side of I'm a Fishy. And Squawk still has the Gorilla going, still has a Fernite as well in this optimized mud team. Wow, Crunk just doing so much damage, isn't it? Yep, secondary damage dealer here, but yeah, Squawk taking down I'm a Fishy.
I'm a Fishy fans, I am so sorry for just cursing your player, but that did not quite go as planned as well. I was happy to see the Lynx was able to at least take care of the Greater Monk here, but everything else essentially just got murked in the meantime, so a little bit of a heartbreaker there. Nice little reset opportunity, though, here with these NPC rogues.
100%. By the way, big shout out to all the viewers. Let us know how much you like or prefer Leviathan over IPL. Always nice to hear the input from the viewers. And big shout out to you just tuning in, being here, rooting for your favorite players. And feel free to hit that subscribe button on YouTube, the follow button on Twitch, the like button. Whatever button you find, press them and let the world know we are live, we are here. In the final game of the Grand Finals of the Leviathan Tournament Series.
I'm also very curious, did anybody in chat happen to help raise any of these alluvials that happen to be on the battlefield here today? Would love to hear your stories.
Yes, do we have any papas or mamas here of these illuvials in play? That would be interesting. I, for one, have a few illuvial traders, a few people that hook me up with perfect stats or level 60s, and I'm sure there is many of these players right here have gotten them from some passionate trainers and levelers.
Yeah, that's what I love. There's people out there that are essentially overworld purists and just don't necessarily find Arena to be their game, but that's a-okay. They're still helping Arena players by getting them the alluvials and training them. as best as possible, and then get to watch their horse in the fight, so to speak, here in the arena. But now we're going to take a look here at I'm Officially once again, going up against Patat, who's down near the bottom, but granted, that's only an 8 health difference. But a Blotto is now online here for I'm Officially. That is yet another Aegis Alluvial, so whatever they decide to supercharge is going to be even that much more cracked up now. It was the Riptorus in this instance. Riptorus is gone, though. Patats might be able to get on through, but there is still a very, very tanky squad. That Flora-Lynx, the Blotto and the Archos or Archelion are still there. The Lynx is eventually finally going to take care of that Quinks in the corner. Vermilio gets one more cast off as a send-off, but now the 1v3, that is still a ton of damage coming out here from this Monarch, but it is not going to be enough. Too tanky of a squad. Did I see that correctly? Was that 20k damage from that Lynx?
Yep, and 10k damage healed from the Archelion. Almost more healing done than damage done from the enemy team. So, yeah, this team is busted. I'm a fishy again with the natures. Love to see it again with the Lynx that carried him to victory last round. Let's see how that goes down the line, but going down to the bottom. We see Patat on the 6 air, struggling to get a foothold. Just lost this round, even though he found a Monarch and a Vermilion, at which point you think, oh, maybe I can stabilize, but not versus this nature team of I'm a Fishy. Maybe it works versus Slickseer, though.
It's so weird, at least, like, personally from the outside looking in, of course, not a pro player by any means, but I'd honestly want Omega Power maybe onto my Vermilion and see if I could chunk something. But the Rampy is still, of course, a very fantastic pick. But we see actually a tank ramp fight coming on through here from Slicks. It doesn't have Omega Power, it's just pure HP at this point. That and shielding, is it going to be enough? No, not a chance it looks like. Monarch is just going to fly on over that Omega, while Rampy and the rest of the squad took out the other side. Slicks is also in for a world of hurt.
Yep, and as we speak, Dr. Spoon falls to the bottom with the uncontested water build. Sota already, by the way, found his slash and found the TB Ruku again. Very similar to his
Here
first
we go
game.
again.
Yep, that's how he won his first game, and he's on track of doing it again. Uncontested, looking really good.
Honestly, like, sometimes this is what a late game Verdant Vanguard team already looks like. And Soda's found it at round 20, and there's still so much more of this game to go. It looks so good here for Sota. It's literally going to have to be a piloting error of some sort or a massive outplay from their opponent to somehow get around them. But I mean, they're trying. Mammut now online here from Patat, getting that big old tank here with this air squad. Might have been one of the ones that they were kind of missing in this last little bit. Don't have Tempest, unfortunately, though, but it is still going to be a rather beefy mammoth.
I'm gonna swap down to Dr. Spoon.
100%, yep.
Fox Spirit, because they are in for a death match right here. Let's see who can stay alive.
I mean, a lot of damage relying on that Sinolf, and that's exactly what they were looking for. Double kill with the Penguin and the Rake as well. Perfect little tag team maneuvers coming out here from this green side. It's only the Forest left in regards to damage. Actually, Tiati's still back there, but it is extremely low. Forest is trying its damnedest, but it is focused. Malur or the Lurlura is going to try and at least stall us out. It is all for naught. And Fox Spirit, you're not done just yet. You have one more chance.
1 HP holding on. Dr. Spoon very happy about winning this round. He's very far from any stage 3 unit, but he just wants to make up a few points. I wanted to point out the credits right now. Everyone is pretty much broke, except Not Complain still has over 40 credits. And he's sitting comfortably in first spot, and he already found a Choton, so there's more to come. He's looking, has his eyes set on a Seer, completing the Behemoths, and maybe even a Scoriox later on. But yeah, let's go down to Fox Spirit and see if he can make it happen, the dream. 1 HP.
Definitely going to be a tall task ahead of them. That's a lot of air units in their way, and I don't think they have any way of actually being able to hard focus through the air. So you're just looking, this Forest is wailing away on the Vermilion, but it's barely taking a dent because it's just getting dodge after dodge. And look at that Omega that came out from it as well. It just blew up Forest and like 3 others. This isn't even going to be close. A valiant effort here today, Fox Spirits, but you shall be eliminated here after an 8th place finish in this final game.
Yes, you shall. And it is by a Hollow Monarch with really bad stats and level 49. So, again...
You just couldn't hit it.
Nope.
They couldn't hit with the other Illuvials. Dr. Spoon out here as well. 7th place.
7th place by Dr.
Valiant
Spoon.
effort for them as well.
Was able to hold on and not get last here. Good job. Just looking over the enemy team here. Perfect Goliath, basically. Level 60, just missing attack damage, which you don't need on a Goliath. Lilura Forest. Oh my god. This is an expensive Illuvial. A perfect Forest level 60. People will probably give you like $1,000 at this point.
I'll give you a kidney. Like what on earth? You hardly ever see something that strong, that powerful, that perfect. Definitely a valuable one. Not Complaint found the Seer, so that is going to be Behemoth online.
Oh my god. Okay, Not Complaint is definitely competing for first with Sota here. I don't know if anyone else will be able to sneak up into the mix. Slicks found his Scoriox. I don't think that's just gonna be enough. Needs a little bit more on that. As we have another deathmatch coming up. Patat versus Squawk.
Yeah, so many players here in this top 4 basically finding exactly what they want. Fully evolved forms of exactly what they want. Meanwhile, a couple at the bottom. I mean, they're getting there. These aren't bad teams by any means. Squawk has basically, for the most part, what they would want here in a mud team. But they're just lacking on levels in this instance. Patat could very well put the hurt in onto them. Actually, I think they might be the same level in this instance, so I might be wrong. But again, the Monarch that's not meant to necessarily be the carry is forced to be the carry alongside this big old mammoth. Let's see how it goes.
Yep, and Squawk right here was finally able to find 4 muds, so his build is pretty much complete. And if we take a look here at the top left corner, the 3 main carries trying to get through the chokepool, but having a hard time. Monk here just missing blinds and everything coming out. Finally though, most of the enemies are falling down, and it seems like Squawk is going to be able to hold on and knocks out Patat. And let's see, Slicks got knocked out as well. Is Patat going to take more damage as Slicks? Monarch tries its best to save some HP, and it takes actually -3. One Illuvial too little. Patat in 6th position, Slicks ends up in 5th.
Slicks falling in 4th here. That's actually fantastic news for Squawk. I think they're looking to try and make a pass. If they can continue to have a fantastic game, they might be in a good spot. But one person not upset that Slicks went down was Not Complain, as if this team wasn't already insane already. I think that was a Scoriox that was just added to Not Complain's team. Behemoth and Magma, this is going to be absolutely brutal to deal with. But right here, right now, I'm a Fishy, currently pushing to try and get the win here in this tournament, is on the brink of elimination. Squawk's mud units are going to try their best to try and take them down, and it could very well open the door for Soda. Let's see how it goes.
Fishy needs to stay alive here. Is Ranger locked into the middle? This is so unfortunate. Comes out in the end, but it looks very deadly here. The right side with the Forest, with the Monk here. So much damage coming in. Look at that Lynx. Is he gonna be able to hold on with the Forest next to it? Yes. They're taking down the enemy Forest. Who is gonna win this game?
It's so tough. An absolute slobber knocker right in the center field. Infernite is actually buffing up all these mud units. It's turning the Monk here into an absolute machine gun. Can it actually hang on here? Forest though has the shield. Blind. It's going to be slowed down, but that is going to take it down. It's down to the Fernite. It's down to the Chakondi, which is basically never used as a carry. It's not doing too bad so far, but Forest, it's still here. There is still the overtime ticking. There is a chance here for the Chakondi. It goes untargetable, and it's going to be the overtime. Pulses to get the kill! Was that the kill shot? I'm a Fishy! Out in 4th.
Oh my god, Chugundi, what did you do? That was madness. Got all the stats from the mud units, I believe, and was just one-shotting units back to back, 25,000 damage. Wow. Love
These next couple fights, though, decide everything. Of course, Not Complain currently in second, trying to fight their way into first, but they have a godlike team. If there's one that could take it down, though, maybe it's the Hyper from this Mud squad, but it's currently going to see the carries right onto the Seer. That one big old behemoth is going to be doing a ton of damage, and now the Monk here is going to be targeted. Gorilla barely going to get out with their life. The Monk here is going to be forced to go untargetable, and actually, what looks like an unstoppable squad might very well get shut down. This is close. Can the Bear get the job done? Looking for an elimination to get the heal. It's doing good. It's got it. The Jotun is going to be able to pull through. 1v4!
What? Not Complain! Knocking out Squawk! Which also means Not Complain knocked out his chance at a victory. Sota with a second place. I think securing the tournament right here. What madness unfolds in front of our eyes. These rounds are insane.
That might very well have been it, but of course, still gonna see this thing through because Not Complain's team is still absolutely ridiculous. Soda's looks good. We see Death Pangu. We know how fantastic this Illuvium can be, but we still have a long way to go. It's only round 26.
Behemoths versus Vanguards. The Vanguard's doing so much damage in the backline. Rampfight goes into the air. Deals so much as well, but this Jotun is a menace and it's hacking its way through the green team. Coming back to the Malura, takes it down in no time and very fast. So Not Complain is gonna knock Sota down a peg.
Definitely getting pummeled up here by the team of Not Complain, but it is still so close. Every point, of course, mattering. Not necessarily 100% sure in regards to the overall standings, but Not Complain, I'll tell you what, they needed a win to have essentially any chance here. They're doing exactly what they need to do.
Yes.
Taking a look, just that Scoriox, for example, it's already got a ton of attack damage. Is it just getting bonus energy damage on top of all of that?
That is nuts. And we have also lightning speed, stage 3, so 20% attack speed is secured for all the units. And then we have triple synchronizing pulse reactor. That means 75%.
Hello, that damage?
Of the attack. Oh my god, 1350. Level 60, perfect stats, missing a little bit of health, but that does not matter. How do you get so much? What happened here?
That is easily the largest number I've seen for an attack stat of any Illuvial at all throughout this entire time of casting and playing Illuvium. That is incredible to see. An absolute monstrosity here is this Scoriox. No wonder everything is dropping like flies. It basically is one-shotting things.
Yeah, and those 3 augments mean 75% of this, so around 1000 energy damage per auto attack extra, which is nuts. Let's see the damage output right here.
It's going to be targeting this Gnarl right off the rip, but look at that. It's chunking a good 1/8 of its health on basically every single auto attack. But here comes a Rampage that says, screw it, I'm just going to burst you down anyway if you can't auto attack because you're dead. That is definitely one way to counteract this. The Rampage on the other side is going to try and stand this, but let's be honest, that's a 1v6 and a full health Pangu. Soda's not done here. They want to go out on top no matter what.
Back and forth matches. I love it. I'm not sure how this swung so dramatically into Sota's favor after the game before was exactly the other way around, but you love to see it.
Because I don't remember the Scoriox being that challenged in these past couple of fights. Meanwhile, it just got fucked.
Yep. I'm wondering what we need here to protect the Scoriox. Maybe because you cannot really bunker it up. 2 units of your bunker jumping away, so you don't have enough units. So where is the Scoriox gonna go? Are you flip it 50-50? Goes into the front line. That's
right in your face.
Yep, good decision. Because they're... Yep. Let's see it.
Pull the old reverse bunker. Actually put it into the front instead of the backside of things here, so Scoriox is going to be able to just watch as all these rogues go flying over its head. The only thing you have to worry about is a little polar bear, which, let's be honest, they just 2-tapped that thing like it was no big deal. Scoriox is in a fantastic spot. Only the Revo is really challenging it as of this moment. Still full HP, and it's been able to lock down the Pangu, and now, even though it's been charmed over, it's just making this on fast forward. Those shots going so quickly on over. Sota down to 10. One more shot. Yeah, I do not know how you actually properly target this thing. Even the Jokel's coming down. It's evolved, but it does not matter. The shots actually went into the Ranger, so it's no big deal. Revel once again, rinse and repeat. Gonna go towards it. Marlura is gonna get popped down before it even has a chance to auto attack. A good charm. There's still a few available. We do have the ramp fight on the other side here from Sota to the skies. Can it get in range? Nope, it's gonna get popped out of the skies, which means I not complain. You needed a win for your best chance at winning this thing, and you got it on the final game. It's either your last or your first here for Not Complain. Beautifully done. Can't hear you. Yeah, just again, the Skorioks just could not get challenged in this reverse bunker kind of style. Go right up front so the rogues go directly over your face and nobody could touch it. Rampart was even stuck there for a little while, trapped between the Malura and the wall. But even still, it would have had no chance to actually reach the Skorioks. Hate to be a bugger, but I think you're muted.
Oh, no, thank you very much for that. What I was gonna say, it's lovely to see those Leviathan matches. It's so much excitement, and maybe it is a little bit unfair if you have no team. The enemy has a huge team, but in theory, if you have a big enough player base, you're always gonna find your opponent with a similar deck to yours, and then you're gonna have a good match. In this finals here, in the grand finals, everybody had decked out decks, and everybody was fighting with absolute beasts, and it's so exciting. So yeah, let us know what you think about Leviathan, but so far the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, and the Illuvium team has heard you, and the focus is going to be more on Leviathan going forward. And so this is, I'm really excited about that. I cannot say how it's going to look exactly, but rest assured that Leviathan, since the player feedback has been so good, will be the focus or more in focus in the future. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love the fact that, say, Illuvium Pro League right now, for example, is the free-to-play gauntlet style to get everybody interested. But as it stands, just like that, it's a good auto battler, but it's just another auto battler. But there's something about Leviathan where you have to go, whether it be marketplace or catch it yourself, you have to find it. That is your Illuvial. You have to put into the time into it. You have to train it. You have to find like the best possible stats you can, raise that thing. That's not just any units. That's just not some character with a skin on it. That's just not some sort of like random placeholder. No, that's yours. That's yours to take care of. It's on the field battling for you. And you have to go out and find it. You have to put the work in. And if you do, you will absolutely reap the rewards of what is a fantastic run here that we see here from all of our top 8 in this Leviathan tournament. And I'd love to see way more of it.
And we will see way more of it. And first, we're gonna see the scores here of the finals. Congratulations, Sota, winning the Leviathan tournament hosted by Ola in dominating fashion, 4 points ahead of the second.
Good on Sota there to get a final bounce back after what started off very, very strong, was declining rather roughly, like lower and lower each game, but got that final second place position to just put the cherry on top there. Although I'm officially fans, though, don't be disappointed. I'm officially going to be finishing up here in second place, still having a fantastic run for themselves alongside Slicks. Not complain, getting that win actually is going to move them up into third, and then Slicks will be fourth. Squawk is going to remain in fifth, but a fantastic final push as well with the third in that final game. Then Patat, Fox Spirit, and Dr. Spoon going to round up the lobby. But of course, all these players walking away with at least a little bit of prizing here. But of course, congratulations to Sota for winning the Illuvium Ole Leviathan tournament.
Yes, well done. Congrats, Sota. You deserve it. It has been a long time coming, and I'm glad those rogues carried you to victory in the end. The ones that you have put your trust into since the beginning. And yeah, that was amazing, exciting. I'm so happy for this opportunity to play in here, then to cast it as well, and to see such crazy games unfold right in front of our eyes in the last 5 matches.
100% incredible stuff. And it's awesome seeing the personalities as well kind of come through the team compositions of all of our players here. And there's just something special seeing somebody win with the composition that they're kind of known for. And so, regardless of what the meta says, regardless of how bad rogues look, regardless of how strong fire is, I don't think they tapped really into it once. They just used what they knew and absolutely crushed it. Going to be walking away with $2,500 as that first place prize. But as you can see across the board, everybody, of course, coming home with a little bit of something.
Yes, definitely top heavy as it should be. So yeah, big shout out to the first 3 places, for example, getting all over $1,000 or at least $1,000. Big payday here today. And yeah, it's only getting better from here on out. As I said, Leviathan will be more the focus, but the real focus in the next few weeks is gonna be, of course, the Illuvium Pro League. The IPL draws to a conclusion. We have 3 more weeks until we have our IPL winner, who will walk away with $50,000 in their pocket. There's a total of $150,000 on the line, so it does not get bigger than this. And this is just season 1. Who knows what we got in store for next year? We'll figure that one out, but there is really exciting times to come. So next weekend is the final call event, your last chance to qualify for the $150,000 tournament for the World Championship. And then in 1.5 and 2.5 weeks time from now, we're going to have the World Championship in 2 weeks. It's going to be a 2-weekend tournament with 4 days in total, all live streamed right here.
It's going to be so exciting. And then even give it a day or so when we do have, of course, our final call. Again, if you are worried about being maybe a little bit too far behind, well, the nice thing is that this is going to be on a brand new patch more than likely. So everybody is essentially going to be super focused on trying to learn what is meta. And let's be honest, we're not going to be able to cover everything. Like, nobody is going to be able to discover everything. We're seeing even right here, right now, where everyone's like, oh yeah, turn my brain off, I go fire. 8 Nature won today. And that is something that was not even thought of weeks ago. Granted, again, lots of things have to go your way, but you can absolutely get creative. No one's going to know everything. And if there's any chance that you want to try and score yourself into that World Championship and be on an even playing field, well, this weekend, this Friday in particular, that's your chance to do it.
Yeah, big shout out to I'm a Fishy once again, winning with those 8 Natures. Deserved second spot here for him. Really cool. And yeah, that's going to be it from us here at the Illuvium Leviathan tournament hosted by Ola. Big shout out obviously to Ola. They have been doing a great job in the back. Most notably, want to mention Changer. I have a hard time spelling it out. And who has been taking a lead in this. Ahmad Haas, who has helped a lot. Kasumi as well. And then, yeah, from the Illuvium side, Philo has been doing a lot of the organizational stuff. So yeah, shout out to everyone who was involved with the Ola hosted Illuvium sponsored Leviathan tournament. It was a great show. It was a lot of fun to play and to cast. The finals was amazing. I hope you guys had a good time, and we're gonna see you all next weekend with the last IPL event, the last chance to get into the World Finals before the World Championship starts at the end of November. So we are about there. Christmas will come early, and we'll see you then. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you. Damage dealt here to Fox Spirit by Dr. Spoon. But yeah, they're still both really healthy. Talking about really healthy, that's Sota up there with 100% health on a win streak, uncontested rogues. We're gonna see him definitely in the late game, so let's go down to the bottom where Furies is facing Sota. Bad luck to him. That's gonna be probably a lot of damage if he can find some way to do this, and I don't think Fleesh is gonna be the magic trick to make it happen.
Speed over time, so that screams to me like a defensive super carry or like a Mystic kind of style. They've not found it in the slightest, and it is actually really starting to bite them now. That fight with Dr. Spoon did not look close in the slightest.
4-8. Yeah, not a single unit died. That was max damage dealt here to Fox Spirit by got Sota up there with 100% health on a win streak. Uncontested rogues. We're gonna see him definitely in the late game. So let's go down to the bottom where Furies is facing Sota. Bad luck to him. That's gonna be probably a lot of damage if he can find some way to do this. And I don't think Fleesh is gonna be the magic trick to make it happen.
And another attempt at a fighter comp, it looks like.
Back to the live game. Who are we watching? Should we go down to the bottom? Spooky versus Furies. Bottom versus bottom. Always a tough matchup, a sweaty one. Let's see who can take it. The Rogues from Furies or the Airs from Spooky.
I mean, I'm looking at that Axon on the left-hand side here for Spooky. That is probably the most health I've ever seen on a Axon, but it's not necessarily the first one really tanking in this instance. Now it's finally getting into the fray, going to walk into that ramp fight. Granted, the Omega doesn't necessarily do that much, but neither is the damage coming out from the Axon. It just kind of got shredded. I love how tanky it is, but look at that stab and look at the ramp fight. They did exactly what they need to do. Just focus each individual target and pop them.
I need to see this again. Wait on against the Furiox, and it's looking really good. Furiox is down, Mammoth is standing strong, and it seems like Sota is gonna take a big hit here. They still have to kill this Artes, which is doing its best to hold on, dodging the cast of the Mammoth, but enemy Artes will not be able to take it down. Sota takes down Spirit. He must be fuming, because